Wednesday night in Kalamazoo, Michigan. John Peterson here with you as the Kalamazoo Wings host the Fort Wayne Komets. Wings in their red, Komets in their white as you follow along, and we are underway here in the first period, presented by Allied Van Lines. Shooting the puck into the offensive zone right away is Aaron Tho. Cross corner into the Fort Wayne end. Starting on defense for the Komets tonight is Kyle Haas, making his pro debut. And he's paired up with Max Gottlieb, another rookie. This puck was sent out of play. We're going to have a center ice face-off here at the K-Wings logo at Wings Event Center. The Fort Wayne forwards that started tonight, Brett McKenzie, former Atlanta Gladiator. He's with rookie Stephen Bayless, the rookie out of Bowling Green, and Sean Szydlowski, the seventh-year Fort Wayne vet. Off the draw, the puck's pushed into the Fort Wayne end. Gottlieb spins it across the rink, picked off by Corey Dunn. He has help as it's held in, shot towards the front, blocked in the slot, and bringing it back out towards center is Morrison. Morrison into the Kalamazoo zone. His shot's tipped off the post, and it bounced back into the slot. That caught the post, went over the head of Hildebrand, but stayed on the good side of the goal line as it's backhanded down into the Fort Wayne end. Stephen Dhillon is the starting goaltender tonight. He's making his professional debut for the Fort Wayne Komets, former Niagara Ice Dog of the Ontario Hockey League, and he gets the nod, number 34 in white for Fort Wayne. Yannick Veilleux with the puck now and stepping foot on the ice, and now officially setting the record is Justin Taylor. He has played the most games in Kalamazoo Wings franchise history, passing Kevin Shamahorn tonight with his 496th game in a K-Wings uniform. Taylor is out there for his first shift, and he officially sets the record here tonight. Taylor's out there with Lear and Veilleux down in the corner. Play to the half wall. Van Voren shoots, and a save by Dhillon, and he pounces on the rebound. Lear was hovering in the vicinity and ready to bury it, but Dhillon closes his glove over the puck, and the faceoff will stay to the right of the Fort Wayne goaltender. A minute 20 into the hockey game. We have a whistle and a faceoff deep in the Komets zone, 0-0 here at Wings Event Center. The second meeting of 14 this year between the Komets and the K-Wings. Faceoff will be to the blocker side of Stephen Dhillon. Also his professional debut, as I mentioned. He and his teammate Kyle Haas both making their 2019-20 debut, which is their first pro game. K-Wings captain Ben Wilson has the puck off the faceoff win. He'll carry it into the corner. Center's out front. Fanning on the quick shot was Lear as it rolls back out to center instead, and Justin Taylor hustles back to retrieve. He'll stop behind his net. Taylor had a goal in the opener in Fort Wayne. It was scored in the final minute of the first period. It was the first Kalamazoo goal of this season. Taylor up the left wing side for Lear. He overskated it. It was brought in offside by Veilleux, and the faceoff will come back out into the neutral zone. 18-16 left in the opening period. 0-0 here at Wings Event Center. Brady Shaw's line will come on. He's joined by Sean St-Amant, and the forward on this line is Brett McKenzie. St-Amant and Brady Shaw, they were teammates with the Colorado Eagles that won the Kelly Cup title in 2017-18. The year before, the Eagles went up to the American Hockey League last season. And now they're teammates again in Fort Wayne on opposite wings on this same line with McKenzie, the center. Kalamazoo dumps it down into the corner. Zach Fry will try to pinch at the half wall. He keeps it in deep. It's flung up towards the point, but picked off by McKenzie. And McKenzie will cross center, tries to dump it in. It was blocked by the K-Wings defense and then pushed in behind the Kalamazoo net. And here come the Wings back out towards center. It's launched up ahead. Sadoway would have had a breakaway, just couldn't quite catch it cleanly. Getting back in time was Petruzzelli. And now into the Kalamazoo end. It's lifted back to center. Sadoway on the left wing was turned around at the Fort Wayne bench. Absorbs a check from Petruzzelli. And getting back to retrieve is Duquette. The rookie defenseman with the puck, Marc-Olivier Duquette for Fort Wayne up the right wing side. It's Morrison. Lobbed to the line, but not out. Good hold by Sorensen. Left wing side for Sandler. Poke checked at the top of the circle. Sandler fights for the puck in the slot. Cuts towards the net. Shoots up high, and it's deflected over the top of the cage by Duquette. Back to the right point, Corey Dunn. His shot's blocked, and this one flies up into the netting above the high glass. We'll get a whistle and a face-off in front of Stephen Dhillon. 17:08 remaining here in the opening period. 2-6-9 night inside Wings Event Center. Fans inside the building. will get $2 beers, $2 sodas, and $6 wing baskets. That special is good every weeknight home game for Kalamazoo. Most of them are on Wednesdays. There is one Tuesday night home game this year in February that's also against this Fort Wayne team. But Tuesday and Wednesday night home games are 2-6-9 nights. $9 tickets, $6 wing baskets, $2 beers and sodas. And a good crowd in attendance for this first one of the year. First home game against this Fort Wayne team. It's dumped in from center. In behind the net, Dhillon will play the puck around the boards to the half wall. Dunn tries to pinch. It's carried back out, though. Here come the Komets. It's Petruzzelli who one-hops Hildebrand on the dump in. Hildebrand lunges out of his crease to glove it on the hop, and he'll hold on to it. And Anthony Petruzzelli, in his second season with Fort Wayne out of the University of Vermont, he'll get a line change. He was a teammate of Brady Shaw's at Vermont for a couple of seasons. Shaw is a year older, but those two also teammates again here in Fort Wayne. Face-off will be to the left of Jake Hildebrand, the Michigan State Spartans alum, fourth pro season. Spent 1 year in Indy with the Fuel. That was his first full pro season, where he was under contract with the Rockford Ice Hogs, the Fuel affiliate. Spent the following season in Tulsa with the Oilers, and then was traded to Kalamazoo last summer. And this is his second season with the K-Wings. This shot's blocked in the slot, carried out by Veilleux with a step. He carries it in left wing, has help. Veilleux fires, right pad save by Dhillon. It's shot back into the corner again. Played up to the line by Lear, but nobody was home, and Wilson retreats into the neutral zone to start over. Wilson to the right wing for Taylor. Leads it in for Veilleux, but they'll say Kalamazoo was offside. 16:22 left in the opening frame. 0-0. Shots on the scoreboard, at least 2-0 in favor of the K-Wings. Stephen Dhillon has stopped the first two shots he has seen. Hildebrand's two stops were going wide of the net, so they don't count as official shots. And the face-off here, just outside the Fort Wayne zone on the far side of the ice. Taylor on the dot. The veteran playing in his 10th pro season. In at least part of all 10 seasons, he's been a Kalamazoo Wing. This is shot in around the K-Wings net. Hildebrand stops the puck. It's scooped up by Wilson. He'll escape up the middle. Pressure put on quickly by A.J. Jenks, the former Toledo Walleye star. In behind the K-Wings net again. Wilson tries the opposite side, left wing. It's thrown back across by Taylor. Here's Lear, angles it off the boards for Van Voris. And Veilleux was ahead of the play, and this will be whistled down for offside as well. And the faceoff will come all the way back as the pass came from the Kalamazoo zone. 15:52 remaining in the first. Again, the next home game for Kalamazoo on this 8-game homestand early in the season will be this Saturday, and they will paint this ice orange. It'll be the annual orange ice game. The K-Wings will wear special Halloween-themed jerseys as they take on the Tulsa Oilers and celebrate Halloween a little bit early. Fans can wear their favorite Halloween costumes to the game, and there's a costume contest. Afterwards, there will be a jersey auction with those Halloween-themed jerseys, with proceeds benefiting the American Cancer Society. Sadoway will dump it in around the Fort Wayne net. Pushed up the left wing side and deflects, and then is kicked out towards center, that time by Duquette. Now back to the Kalamazoo defense. In behind the net. On the left wing side, it's Fry. Angles it out towards center. There's Kyle Blaney, his first game of the season after starting the year on IR. Back comes St-Amant. He has it roll off his stick on the toe drag. It goes wide of the K-Wings net. Played to the point for Petchenig. His shot's blocked by Hildebrand. He got the blocker on it, steered it into the corner, and here comes Blaney back up the right wing. Kyle Blaney through center. Redirected in by Sadoway. Quick change for this group. And Kalamazoo will now bring on that third line of Dauda, Diamond, Tony. And the third forward will be Kovacs. Deflected down into the Kalamazoo end by Morrison. Brad Morrison played 50 games last year with the Ontario Reign in the AHL. He had 20 points. That's a pretty good AHL season. He did not play in the season opener for the Komets against Kalamazoo. The shot from Aaron Thill goes high and wide. Held in at the right wing half wall by Dunn. It was in his skates. It's turned back up the wall, and here's Morrison. Shovels it into open space as it's pushed over to the right wing side and then backhanded towards the net. It goes off the side of the cage. Mason Bergh had that scoring opportunity, but it hit the side of the net, and Hildebrand was there to cover up with 14:31 left in the first. Shots now 3-2 in favor of the Komets. Face-off will be to the left, the glove side of Hildebrand. And now we'll see a new line for Fort Wayne. It'll be Boudens, Matthew Boudens, the rookie out of the University of New Brunswick, who has 3 goals already in 3 games for Fort Wayne. He had 2 against Kalamazoo on opening night, a power play goal and a shorthanded goal, and then he was given a game misconduct after his fight with Dhillon Sadaway. He's joined by Szydlowski in the trigger hole right at the top of the circle, and the left wing is another rookie, Stephen Bayless. Boudens will take the draw against Taylor to the left of Hildebrand. 14:31 remaining here in period number 1. Off the dot, Bayless tries to direct it to the front. Good play by Matt Van Voris. And Taylor will lob it back out to center ice on the left wing for Veilleux. Now into the skates of Lear. He collects it, finds it, shoots it, and it's blocked and deflects wide. Off the stick that time of Haas. The rookie Kyle Haas getting a piece of that shot from Lear. Now Haas with it again. He'll spin it across the rink to the left wing. Scooped up over there by Boudens. Shoveled in for Bayless. Top of the left circle. Couldn't get the shot off. It's intercepted, and the K-Wings will launch it to center, hoping to spring Taylor on a breakaway. That's picked off, though, by Gottlieb, and he'll reverse it back into his own zone for Bryson Martin. Martin turns it over in the neutral zone, and it's an odd man rush. Blaney races in. Right circle, shoots, hit the side of the cage. St-Amant caught him. Now Blaney back to the line. Held in at the point here. Sorensen shoots through a screen save. Rebound goes just wide off the stick of Zach Fry. On the right wing, carried down low by Ganley. Ganley tries to center for Sorensen. He's stood up by Boudens. Now in the far corner, it's played around the net, D to D. McKenzie finds his defensive partner, but Sorensen in hot pursuit knocks it away into the corner, has help from Blaney. Blaney turns, goes in behind the net, tries a wraparound all the way through the crease, though. Sorensen dives to try to get it to the point. This time it's Boudens intercepting, carrying it to center. He'll just slowly roll it deep into the Kalamazoo end and head off on a change. K-Wings turn it over in front of their own net, but Ganley was there to help, and he kicks it out towards center. And here comes Kalamazoo with a possible 2-on-1. It's Fry. Fry waiting, going across. It's blocked. Fry got it back, and it hit the side of the cage. On the far side, Shaw tries to clear, can't do so. Ganley holds it in, cycles it in behind the net. 12:52 left here in the first period, still 0-0 at Wings Event Center. Lobbed over the head of the Kalamazoo defense. Tho hustles back to gather it, takes a big hit from Shaw behind the K-Wings net. Has helped, though, as Ganley clears up the right wing side. It's Dowda onto the tape of Tho. Tho into the offensive zone. Tries to stick handle, lost it in the slot. And it's pushed back to the point, but not out. Good hold by Dowda. In behind the net is Marc-Olivier Duquette. Duquette finds Morrison on the right wing. Morrison has help from Bergh as it's nudged out to center, but a good step up by Corey Dunn. Hit thrown on the far side there by Luke Sandler. And that one got a good roar from the crowd as he hit Bayless. Hildebrand stops it behind his net. Up the middle of the ice, Taylor. Right wing side off the skate of Lear. This will roll into the Komets zone. They wave off the icing with just over 12 minutes to play in the first period. The pass is picked off in the neutral zone by Veilleux, but everybody has to tag up onside. Veilleux waits, then shovels it down into the corner. First to the puck was Gottlieb. Good pressure by Lear. Tried to feed it into the circle, but nobody was home. And it's carried back out by Morrison for Fort Wayne. He'll backhand it deep into the K-Wings end. 11:45 left in the first period, still 0-0. Out comes Kalamazoo towards center. Van Voris to Taylor. He redirects it in deep. Behind the net, Dhillon out for a skate. He'll play it away from Veilleux. To the far side, it's Petruzzelli. Out come the Komets to center. It's A.J. Jenks. Crisscrossing through the neutral zone. His shot's blocked. Picked up by Szydlowski. Fires. Fought off by Hildebrand with the shoulder save. Tap back up to the point. K-Wings can't clear as it caught a Fort Wayne skate. Numbers for the Komets in deep. It's Szydlowski. Right circle. Across. They can't get the shot off, though. Down to block it was Fry. Szydlowski gets it back. Up to Bryson Martin at the left point. Dodges a check at the half wall into the circle. Down low against Szydlowski. Tried to play it out front for Petruzzelli. Hildebrand reached out with the paddle. Now in the left circle, a shot. Saved by Hildebrand. Right into the breadbasket. That shot came in from Petruzzelli. Hildebrand was in position, and he has it in the catching glove. Timeout on the ice, no score here in the first period from Wings Event Center, Fort Wayne and Kalamazoo. You're listening to K-Wings Hockey on AM 1660, The Fan. Back here at Wings Event Center, 10:58 left in the first period. No score between Kalamazoo and Fort Wayne. John Peterson here with you on AM 1660. The Fan. Shots are 4-4 thus far. Jake Hildebrand with a couple of saves on the last flurry. Faceoff will be to Hildebrand's blocker side. He looked very good in the opener against Cincinnati. Picked up his first win of the year. Last season set a career high with 21 victories and 46 appearances for the K-Wings. This is turned over in front. Hildebrand gets across to Rob St-Amant, but the puck was turned over behind the net to McKenzie. McKenzie threw it out into the right circle for St-Amant, and Hildebrand went post to post to make the stop, and the faceoff will be to his left. Looks like Ganley is out there on defense. Ganley, former draft pick of the Carolina Hurricanes, paired up with Zach Fry tonight. Face-off, Blaney was on the dot. It's won by the Komets. It's Bryson Martin at the right point. He shoots through traffic. Blocker stopped by Hildebrand. St-Amant behind the net now. Reverses it for McKenzie on the cycle into the left corner. Back down behind the cage. St-Amant, he'll get free. He's checked by Ganley, who stays with him. St-Amant gets free again. Tries a backhanded wraparound. Saved by Hildebrand, and it's jammed into the net. They score, and Fort Wayne is on the board first for the second straight meeting. It might have been Brady Shaw who was on the doorstep. I think it was. And Shaw, who leads the Komets in scoring so far, has 5 points now on the season. That was his third goal. It'll be Shaw from St-Amant. It was a backhanded wraparound that went under the armpit of Hildebrand, sat in the crease, and was shoveled into the cage by Shaw. Fort Wayne scores at 9:26 of the first period. They scored first on October 12th, but that one was 18 seconds in. They actually led 2-0, and at one point they led 3-1. And the K-Wings just never could come back from those two-goal deficits. Right now, though, 1-0 Fort Wayne, about at the midway point of the opening frame. It's Shaw from St-Amant. McKenzie might get a second assist. We'll see. Deflected in here by Kovacs. It will be McKenzie who does get the second assist. So third goal from Shaw. St-Amant and McKenzie with the two helpers. Now the K-Wings try to answer. Here's Kovacs, left circle throw, shoots and a blocker, save Dhillon. Rebound comes into the high slot. Dunn feeds it across the blue line. It's Kovacs at the left point. Kovacs winds up, fakes the shot, carries it down the wall, has help here from Diamond Tony, but the puck's taken away by Morrison, who muscles his way to center ice in front of the Fort Wayne bench. Has help from Bergh. Bergh into the high slot. His shot's blocked by Dunn. Diamond Tony hustles over. Back down low. The Komets try to get another scoring chance out front. It's Morrison. Tipped over the top of the cage by Bergh, who was cutting into the slot. Now Morrison at the right point. Heckled out to center by Tho. And Fort Wayne will regroup in the neutral zone. It's Haas. Haas up the right wing for Bergh. Gave it away to Dunn, but pressure put on by Boudens. Boudens in behind the net. Is heckled by Tho. Boudens tries to center. It's spun out front. Now kick to the point. Here's a shot from Gottlieb, and that's blocked by Kovacs and ricochets out into the neutral zone. 9:20 remaining in the first period. 1-0 Fort Wayne. Brady Shaw with the goal. Lear shoves Gottlieb, and he actually collided with the linesman on the play. Back up the right wing now. It's Veilleux. Into open space. Taylor cutting through the neutral zone. Left wing side, playing the carom off the boards is Lear. Reverses it. Van Voris shoots and a right pad save by Dhillon. Behind the cage now, Taylor. Right corner, it's Lear. Up top, it's Ben Wilson. He winds. He fires through a screen. That one's knocked down in front of Dhillon. Never made it to the goaltender. It's pushed towards the point by Gottlieb, but held in by the K-Wings. Van Voris putting the pressure on. Now to the line. Good pinch by Wilson. Down in the right corner's Veilleux. Stick handles. Couldn't get the pass through as it caught the skate of Haas. Now Veilleux again on the right wing half wall. Across the rink for Taylor. Into the slot now. It's Wilson. Backhander, and Dhillon has it smothered with the blocker as the faceoff will be to his right. But that was probably the best shift of the night for Kalamazoo. That Veilleux, Taylor, Lear line with Van Voris and Wilson. Still 1-0 Fort Wayne. Shots are 8-5. Komets. Shaw's third of the year. 5th point from St-Amant and McKenzie. It'll be a blocker side face-off in front of Stephen Dhillon. Blaney on the dot up against McKenzie. Again, Kyle Blaney, the Burlington, Ontario native. Back-to-back 40-plus point seasons for the K-Wings. His 4th year in Kalamazoo. He wins the draw. They score! Dhillon Sadaway has 3 straight Kalamazoo goals going back to Saturday. He ties the game at 1, and it was a clean face-off win from Kyle Blaney. Third goal of the year for Sadoway. It was a missile from right in the trigger position at the top of the left circle. Blaney won on the draw clean, and he snapped it over the shoulder of Dhillon. Here's the replay for those watching on ECHL TV. If you blinked, you missed it. There's Sadoway in the trigger hole. Face off right to him, and he fires it top shelf. Blaney will get the lone assist, and the time of the goal will be 11:28. 1-1 the score, and Sadoway's impact has been felt immediately here in the 2019-20 season. He signed in the offseason with the Utica Komets, of course, Kalamazoo's AHL affiliate, and starts the year with the K-Wings. He now has 3 goals in 3 games. Blaney will get the lone assist. Pushed back out to center and then fired back in by the Komets' Bryson Martin. Zach Fry has it now for the K-Wings. Fry gets to center ice. His dump in was deflected by Sandler. Hustling back is Marc-Olivier Duquette. Taps it off the end wall, but hustling over for Kalamazoo was Dauda. He couldn't quite feed it to the line as it trickles out, and Fry hustles back to retrieve. Zach Fry launches it up the right wing. Tapped ahead for Diamond Tony. Zach Diamond Tony, right circle. He turns in the corner. Diamond Tony to the line. Corey Dunn, top of the circle. Shoots up high, and that goes up into the glass over the top of Dhillon. Aaron Tho in behind the goal line. He takes a check back there by Petruzzelli. And now in the right corner, this is Diamond Tony. Diamond Tony's tripped up by Bergh. The battle continues. Bergh gets it free. Now Dunn with the pinch. Tries to center. That one off the skate of Petruzzelli, and diving out is Dhillon to cover. Timeout on the ice, I believe. 7:17 left here in the first period. No, we'll keep it right here. 1-1 the score. Shots even at 8-8. And again, it's Dhillon Sadoway, his 3rd straight goal for Kalamazoo. He had the game-tying goal on Saturday night with 1:27 remaining. He scored the game winner in overtime just 6 seconds in. And gets that 3rd one early. First period goal thanks to that face-off win from Kyle Blaney. Face-off here to the left of Dhillon. Won by the K-Wings. Veilleux tries a wraparound, and it's turned aside. Back in behind the cage is Petruzzelli. He's heckled by Veilleux. Left wing side now is Boudens. Carried out to center by Jenks. Pushed along and off of a Kalamazoo skate. It's a delayed offside. And Szydlowski has to get back into the neutral zone to tag up. 6:55 left here in the first period. 1-1. Shots even at 8-8. The goal scorers, Shaw for Fort Wayne, then Sadoway for Kalamazoo. Angled up the right wing side, Veilleux shovels it in. Hustling after it is Boston Lear. First to the puck was Gottlieb. Lear crunches him on the back wall. Help put on by Taylor. Taylor gets it free left corner. Justin Taylor reverses it around the glass, but it went up into the high netting, and the faceoff will come back out. No, they'll say it was tipped. They'll keep the faceoff in to the right of Stephen Dhillon. Couple players still left on injured reserve for Kalamazoo at this point. Eric Catalyst, who started the year on IR, the veteran defenseman. Versatile player. He can play forward if the K-Wings are short at that position. He can play defense. It's a valuable asset. And Zach Saar, who had a terrific second pro season last year, the local kid out of Penn State University, but he's from just up the road in Richland. And Saar started his career in Utah 2 seasons ago. Last year, though, had a breakout season. The 6'6" forward also still on IR. Here's Sadoway. He'll shovel it in around the Fort Wayne net. Slowing it down is Dhillon. Binkley gets to it first in the corner. He's wrapped up by Sorensen. Blaney now battling for it. Blaney gets it free, forces the turnover. He's tripped up in the slot, lost the puck, and now it's collected by St-Amant. They'll lob it across the rink for Shaw. Shaw's centering attempt goes off a K-wing skate and in behind the net. Now into the right circle, St-Amant fires. That's blocked by Zach Fry and kicks all the way back down into the Fort Wayne end. K-Wings get a line change. 5:55 left in the first period. 1-1 the score. Pushed across the rink and fed ahead by Duquette. Backhanded into the K-Wings end by Shaw. He heads off on a change. Now it's Corey Dunn. Outlets up the right wing, and here comes Kalamazoo to center. Diamond Tony ran into a teammate, though, and lost the puck, and it's held in. And now here's a centering pass by Bayless. Left circle, though. Bergh lost an edge, and back out comes Kalamazoo again. In the neutral zone, it's Aaron Tho. Saucers at left wing side, Kovacs. They're offside at the line as this play is whistled down. The linesman, Christopher Williams, with the arm up, Referee tonight is Eric Krasnichuk. Christopher Williams, one of the two linesmen, Logan Belgraf, the other. We have a timeout on the ice. A tie score, 1-1. Fort Wayne struck first. Dhillon Sadaway answered with his third of the year. We're back after this. You're listening to K-Wings Hockey on AM 1660, The Fan. One here in the first period at Wings Event Center in Kalamazoo. Dhillon Sadaway with the K-Wings goal, tying this game after Brady Shaw scored his third of the year a few minutes before. Back in the Kalamazoo end, this puck's deflected at the K-Wings blue line, and Petruzzelli chases, but here's Kovacs on the left wing. He'll feed it across, and Corey Dunn works his way towards center. He's forced back into his own end. Feeds it up the right wing. That's intercepted, but a delayed offside. Now it's carried in, and it's Mason Bergh. Backhander floats wide of Hildebrand's net. In behind, big collision there, and getting the brunt of it was done as it's lobbed back out to center ice, and here's Kovacs working his way through. Kovacs is poke-checked at the Fort Wayne blue line by Duquette, and then it's fed into the K-Wings end by Bergh. Collected by Van Voris, D-to-D for Wilson up the right wing and into the neutral zone. Ben Wilson launches it down into the Komets end. Duquette will feed it back up the right wing, and it's Boudens reversing it behind his back for Szydlowski. Cuts back towards the middle, tries a spinorama, and that's knocked down in the slot. Szydlowski stays with it. We have a penalty coming up on Boudens as he knocked down Van Voris, or maybe it's Szydlowski. It's going to be hooking. No, it is Boudens. Hooking will be the call at 15:29. And the rookie forward heads back to the penalty box. He has 19 penalty minutes on the season. 15 of those was in the game against the K-Wings, though, back on the 12th. He had the 5-minute major for fighting Dhillon Sadaway, and then he also was given a game misconduct for intent to injure. That was where the story tells he tried to hit Sadaway with his helmet, which was the intent to injure part, and now he's in the box. K-Wings on the Culver's power play for the first time. Hooking was the call. Here's a shot from the right circle by Veilleux. Left pad saved by Dhillon. Kalamazoo was 2 for 5 on the power play Saturday against Cincinnati. This is Veilleux in the corner. Up to the point, Van Voris. He crosses to Kovacs, left circle. Kovacs walks in, down to the goal line. That's tipped off the side of the cage by Taylor. He tries to wrap it around for Veilleux at the half wall on the right wing. Back beneath the goal line again. This wraparound chance, save, rebound, they score! It's Taylor, and they never signal the goal. Now Van Voris threw it on goal on his backhand. It's underneath Dhillon, and it was waved off twice, but I thought Taylor scored. I thought he tucked it into the back of the net on his second try. That should be a goal, I believe, going to Justin Taylor if we can get a replay. Boy, that'll be interesting to see. They do have video replay now, and I think they're going to take a look. As it stands right now, face-off is to the left of Dhillon. I thought it went in. I thought he tucked it in on his second try. He jammed it into the back of the net. That should be a goal for Justin Taylor. He was tackled to the ice in the process, but the first one was stopped by Dhillon, and the second one went in and out. And my replay machine has frozen up here in the press box, so I don't see it, but they do have access to the official replay system. And they're checking it out on the iPad to see if that went in and back out. If it's a goal, it would be his second of the year for Justin Taylor, and it'd be a power play goal. There's a minute 20 left on that penalty to Matthew Boudens, and 3:51 remaining in the first period. 1-1 the score for the moment. There was no signal originally. I don't know if the light ever came on, but it sure looked like it went in and out from our vantage point. And if we can see it here in the press box, they're still talking about it over at the scorer's table. A.J. Jenks and Justin Taylor are standing just outside the semicircle over there, awaiting the ruling. Again, Justin Taylor tonight has already set the all-time Kalamazoo Wings franchise record for games played. His 496th game in a Kalamazoo Wings jersey tonight. That passes the legendary Kevin Shamahorn, who had his jersey retired here at Wings Event Center last season during the 45th anniversary season. Pretty good company for 93 in red, Justin Taylor. See if they give him a goal here. I think they were still looking at it. It is a goal. Once a goal scorer, always a goal scorer. And how about that for Justin Taylor on the night he sets the record? It's a power play goal. Taylor from Kovacs and Van Voris at 16:09, and the K-Wings have their first lead. Here's the replay from the overhead if you're watching on ECHL TV. Yep, it went in and back out. And video replay comes through in the third game of the season. The first stop was made by Dhillon with the right pad. The second one went across the goal line and came right back out. And that's why they put it in, specifically for this reason. The overhead view there was pretty clear. There has to be evidence that it fully crossed the goal line, and it was clear on that replay. They give Taylor the goal. They change the assist to Bergh and Kovacs, again at 16:09, and it's the second goal of the season for Justin Taylor. 3:50 left in the first period, 2-1 Kalamazoo. This puck was lifted off the glass from the Fort Wayne defense and out of play, so the face-off coming back in front of Stephen Dhillon. Kalamazoo's power play 1-for-1 tonight. They're 3 for their last 3. 3 for 6 going back to the start of the Cincinnati game. They were 0 for 6 on opening night in Fort Wayne. So power play doing some good things here in the last couple games. Blaney will be chased from the dot. Sadoway will come in to take it. Tanner Sorensen waiting in that position right at the top of the circle for this upcoming draw. This faceoff, though, is won by Brett McKenzie. Swept around the boards, and Brady Shaw's crunched on the clearing attempt as he was hit by Zach Fry. This pass misses St-Amant, but it's deflected and goes all the way into the Kalamazoo end. Jake Hildebrand will play it high off the glass and out. Picked off by Petruzzelli, and he'll lift it back in, but it's gloved by Fry and fed back across the rink for Blaney, who dumps it in wide of the Fort Wayne net. Dhillon will let his teammate Duquette play it. He can't connect, though, with Petruzzelli, but he gets help from St-Amant, who clears it back out, and McKenzie will chase at the Kalamazoo blue line. Here's Tanner Sorensen crisscrossing back through center. It's knocked off his stick by McKenzie. Hustling back was Ganley. Ganley angles it across for Dauda, backhanded up the right wing, and here's Sorensen picking up speed through center. Sorensen in across the line, fires, fought off, but there by Dhillon. Sorensen gets the puck back. Here's Adam Dauda at the left point, across right circle. Here's a chance, and it's loose in the crease, but it never crossed the goal line that time. Dhillon was sprawled out. Dunn will feed it D to D. He's actually got Sorensen at the point, and Sorensen's shot's blocked by Haas as the puck deflects out of play, but it was a good scoring chance there at the side of the net. Dauda's pass to the right circle, I think, was for Sadoway. Instead of firing the one-timer he stick-handled, he got Dhillon down and out of position, but just couldn't tuck it into the back of the net. 2:42 remaining in the first period. 2-1 Kalamazoo. They've really gained the momentum here late in the frame. Shots are 10-9 in favor of the K-Wings. The draw will be to the glove side of Dhillon. Taylor back out there with Bergh and Lear. It's won by A.J. Jenks. Bryson Martin up the left wing, tapped out to center by Bayless, but collected by the K-Wings defense. It's Van Voris D for Ben Wilson. 4th year as the captain of this team, 7th year in Kalamazoo. Deflected in around the net. Dhillon will play the puck. Good pressure put on by Lear. He has help from Veilleux. Goes to Taylor, but stepping in the way was Jenks, who's wearing the assistant captain A on his jersey. 3 players on the ice for Fort Wayne wearing the A right now. It's Szydlowski, Jenks, and Binkley. And this is lobbed out to center. Binkley hustles back to retrieve this puck, chased by Veilleux. Saucers it across for Martin. Back through the middle of the ice, picked off by Aaron Tho, but K-Wings have a player trapped. Tho brings it in. He's crunched by Martin. Bryson Martin nudges it back to center again. Here's Luke Sandler. Spins it across for Corey Dunn inside his blue line. Dunn, 3-time All-American at Adrian College. Now here's Morrison, right circle, centers back door, they score, and this game is tied at 2 with 1:39 left in the first period. It will be a goal, and it'll be Mason Bergh, the rookie. Morrison with a perfect setup pass, and Bergh was left all alone in the left circle, and we're tied at 2. Second goal of the season for Mason Bergh out of Colorado College, his first pro season. And he was low in that left circle, and Morrison found him. They are discussing, however, perhaps, yeah, they're reviewing this one as well, but it looked like it snuck inside the post and kicked back out. But that video review going to good use here early on in the season. We went to video review once on Saturday against Cincinnati. Aaron Tho had a redirect that went off the post, and we were unsure whether or not it went in. It did not, but they reviewed it to make sure. And now 2 already here in the first period tonight. 1:39 left in the opening frame. It's 2-1 Kalamazoo, but Fort Wayne looks like they have tied it. Mason Bergh. Still discussing. Ben Wilson and Sean Szydlowski, 2 well-respected veterans at center ice, just outside that semicircle waiting for the signal. Our referee, Eric Krasnichuk. Meanwhile, Fort Wayne is at the center ice face-off circle, assuming that's where it'll be if this goal stands. Kalamazoo over by their bench. Again, Brady Shaw started the scoring for Fort Wayne on a Sean St-Amant wraparound that trickled into the crease and was jammed in by Shaw. Sadoway tied it for Kalamazoo off a face-off win from Blaney. Then Justin Taylor put the K-Wings in front, but this is a goal, and Mason Bergh has tied this game at 2. So 2 video reviews, 2 good goals, and we're tied at 2. And second goal of the year for Mason Bergh. The assists will be given to Brad Morrison and Anthony Petruzzelli. In time of that goal, 18-21. Bergh wins the faceoff. On the far side, Duquette plays it D for Haas. Stepping up was Fry. The puck's freed for Sorensen. Poke checked and in some skates, and eventually gathered by Petruzzelli. Nudged out to center and knocked into the K-Wing zone by Morrison. Morrison gets the puck right circle, centers for Bergh, shoots, it's fought off by Hildebrand. Blaney hustles back into the play, trickles wide of the net, and in the right corner, it's Morrison who circles the zone. All the way around the perimeter, Morrison dumps it into the left corner, and Petruzzelli banks it on the cycle for Bergh. Centered out front to Morrison, and he slid a backhander wide. Back in the corner again, up towards the right point, Petchenig tries a shot that's blocked by Sadoway down in the far corner. Knocked free for Petruzzelli. Petruzzelli is pressured by Ganley. Final minute of the first period. 2-2 the score here at Wings Event Center. 2 players aside digging for this puck in the corner. It's freed, and Zach Fry will scoop it up in the near corner. He angles it high off the glass and out. Off the skate of Petchenig. Now Sadoway has help from Fry. D for Ganley. Ganley towards center. Tries to spring Sadoway. Couldn't connect with him on the saucer pass, and this will go all the way down for icing. So icing the call on Kalamazoo, and everything will come back in front of Jake Hildebrand. 30.9 seconds in our intermission. Take a look at a couple other scores. There's only 3 games on the ECHL slate tonight. See how those games are going in Adirondack and Norfolk. Glens Falls Civic Center, Adirondack hosting Maine. Norfolk Admirals welcoming the South Carolina Stingrays. This is shot wide of the K-Wings net, and Justin Taylor scoops it up in the corner and angles it high off the glass to center. Pushed back ahead by Haas. And now with some speed is Brett McKenzie, and across the Kalamazoo line. Drops it off here to St-Amant. Finds Gottlieb, left point now Haas. Tries a shot through a screen, saved by Hildebrand, knocked out of harm's way by Zach Fry. Final 5 seconds of the period. Momentum late for Fort Wayne after tying this game. The horn will sound, and we're 2-2 after 20 minutes here at Wings Event Center. Early season Central Division showdown. Fort Wayne and Kalamazoo. This is going to be a battle all season long. They play 14 times. This is meeting number 2. The Komets took the opener 5-2, and we are tied at a pair apiece after one period here tonight. Take a break and come back with our first intermission after this. You're listening to K-Wings Hockey on AM 1660 The Fan. First period with 4 goals combined between the Kalamazoo Wings and the Fort Wayne Komets here on this Wednesday night in Kalamazoo inside Wings Event Center. John Peterson here with you. Back and forth first period. The K-Wings trailed after Brady Shaw started things off for Fort Wayne, knocking in a rebound off of a Sean St-Amant wraparound opportunity. And it was Shaw getting his 3rd goal of the season to make it 1-0. But Kalamazoo had a pretty quick response. The goal from Dhillon Szydlowski, his 3rd straight Kalamazoo Wings goal. He scored the tying goal and the game winner in overtime Saturday against Cincinnati. Szydlowski evened the score at 11:28. So Shaw's goal was at 9:26 of the first period. with assists going to Sean St-Amant and Brett McKenzie. That was an even strength goal. Sadoway's was also even strength. Kyle Blaney with the lone assist. Blaney playing his first game of the season, coming off of injured reserve today. He won the faceoff clean back to Szydlowski at the top of the circle, and Szydlowski sniped it, wasted no time. That tied it up 1-1 just over 2 minutes after Shaw's goal. And then Justin Taylor scored on a wraparound opportunity on the power play at 16:09, the only power play of the period for either team. Matthew Boudens was in the box for hooking, and Taylor's first attempt went off the right pad of the goaltender Stephen Dhillon, but Taylor got it right back and snuck it in just inside the near post, the blocker side post of Dhillon. And it only was across the goal line by 5 or 6 inches and then came right back out. So it initially was never ruled a goal on the ice. The play continued. There was no signal. The light never came on. But with video replay now all across the ECHL as a requirement in each building, this is the second straight game we've gone to video replay here at Wings Event Center. And after review, it was indeed a goal. So it'll be the second goal of the season for Taylor. Yannick Veilleux and Justin Kovacs pick up the 2 assists for Veilleux. He now has a 3-game point streak to start the year with a goal and 2 assists. Second goal of the year for Taylor, and it just so happens tonight is the night he makes history, setting the K-Wings record for most games played in franchise history, 496, which passes Kevin Shamahorn. So it was 2-1 at that point, and then a second video review on Fort Wayne's tying goal. That was a setup pass from Brad Morrison across to Mason Bergh. Bergh snapped the shot at 18:21 that beat Hildebrand on the glove side, just inside the post. It kicked back out. That one was ruled a goal right away. They still reviewed it just to be sure, and it was upheld. So we're tied at 2 after 20 minutes. Shaw and Bergh, the 2 goal scorers for the Komets. Szydlowski and Taylor, the scorers for Kalamazoo. And the shots in that opening frame were 12-11 in favor of Fort Wayne. That was also a category that was kind of back and forth with the momentum swings of the opening frame. Fort Wayne led in shots on goal at one point 8-5. Kalamazoo then took a shots lead 10-8, and then Fort Wayne ended strong, outshooting the K-Wings in that first 20 minutes 12-11. Again, that only penalty was to Matthew Boudens. He was called for hooking. The K-Wings did convert on the power play. They're 1 for 1 tonight. 3 for their last 6, 3 for 12 on the season. And again, Jake Hildebrand stopped 10 of 12 in the opening frame. Stephen Dhillon stopped 9 of 11. Dhillon making his professional debut. He's been on the roster the entire training camp and into the season as the Komets started the year off with 3 goaltenders. Dhillon was one of the 3 that made the opening day roster as he signed an ECHL contract in the offseason. But he was behind 2 affiliated goaltenders in Dylan Ferguson, a Vegas Golden Knights prospect who was called up the day of the first game when Fort Wayne played Kalamazoo on October 12th. That morning, Ferguson was called up to the Chicago Wolves and has been there ever since. And then the other goaltender that Dhillon was kind of behind on the depth chart was Cole Keeler, who was the one who played against the K-Wings, and he stopped 41 of 43 Kalamazoo shots that night. He won the first 2 games for Fort Wayne and lost his last outing Saturday against Toledo, but he was called up to Ontario in the American Hockey League as he's an LA Kings prospect. And so Dhillon was the only goaltender left, but when Keeler was called up to Ontario, the LA Kings also sent Fort Wayne a goaltender in return, and that is Stephen Dillon's backup tonight, which is Matthew Vitala, who is was sent down this week a couple days ago. So again, Dhillon is the starter tonight, making his professional debut. The Buffalo, New York native has 9 saves on 11 Kalamazoo shots. Again, it is 2-2 after 1 here inside Wings Event Center. Kalamazoo continues their 8-game homestand Saturday when they welcome the Tulsa Oilers to town. First of 3 meetings with the Oilers this year. It is the only one here in Kalamazoo. And it'll also be the Orange Ice game. So we will dye the ice orange, the annual Orange Ice traditional game. And it is also an early Halloween celebration as K-Wings will be wearing their Halloween-themed jerseys, which I think you'll like. They're white in color with some crazy Halloween-type design on it, We've been posting it to our social media pages. We'll post it again here before Saturday so you can see them. But those will be auctioned off following the game here at Wings Event Center, with proceeds benefiting the American Cancer Society. So stick around for that post-game jersey auction Saturday night if you plan on attending the game. Again, there will be a costume contest during the game as well. So dress up as your favorite Halloween character. Wear your best costume, if you will, and try to win that contest with prizes to be given away. Should be a lot of fun. The 8-game homestand, it continues into the middle of November. Kalamazoo will host Toledo next Tuesday at 10:30 in the morning. That is the annual Education Day game. So that'll be an early one next Tuesday, the 29th of October. And then to start off the month of November, the K-Wings have Wheeling on November 2nd, which is a week from this Saturday. That is Star Wars night, where we will attempt a Guinness World Record for the largest lightsaber battle in the first intermission. So everybody in attendance, we're going to need you during the first intermission Saturday, November 2nd, for that lightsaber battle, as we will go for the Guinness World Record title that night. And we're going to need your help for that one, but that'll be a lot of fun. Then 2 more home games against Fort Wayne, back-to-back nights, November 8th and November 9th. Cincinnati here at Wings Event Center, November 10th, to wrap up that 8-game homestand. The next road game is at Fort Wayne on November 15th at Memorial Coliseum. It is 2-2 after 1 here in Kalamazoo on this Wednesday night, the first 269 night of the season, with $2 beers and $2 sodas, as well as $6 wing baskets and $9 tickets to the game tonight. We'll come back with more of our first intermission with an out-of-town scoreboard after this. You're listening to K-Wings Hockey on AM 1660, The Fan. Welcome back to Wings Event Center here in the first intermission on this Wednesday night as the Kalamazoo Wings and Fort Wayne Komets are tied at 2. John Peterson here with you. 2 goal scorers for Kalamazoo tonight. Dhillon Sadaway, his 3rd goal in the last 2 games, and then Justin Taylor on the power play, his 2nd goal of the season. And on the night that he sets the team's all-time record for games played in a Kalamazoo Wings jersey with 496. For those listening right now, spoiler alert, we will do a pregame presentation for Justin Taylor on Saturday night before the Orange Ice game against the Tulsa Oilers, honoring him for that achievement. That's a lot of durability, and for a player that's battled the injury bug a time or 2 in his career, it's sure a great story that he's been able to keep playing as long as he has, and I think he's got a lot of game left if he chooses. Former Washington Capitals draft pick has been in Kalamazoo for parts of 10 seasons, and he now has the all-time franchise record, which goes back 46 years of K-Wings hockey, 496 games, and that has been set tonight. And for good measure, he scores that 2nd K-Wings goal that initially made it 2-1. It maybe was a little bit unceremonious in the sense that they had to go to the scorer's table, video review. It wasn't ruled a goal initially. A few people thought it went in right away, but the light never came on, and it was never signaled a goal. And after video review, it was determined a goal. But Fort Wayne tied things up late in the period on the goal by Mason Bergh. Real quick before we take our final break of the intermission, a couple of scores from around the ECHL. Adirondack is hosting the Maine Mariners tonight in Glens Falls at Cool Insuring Arena. 2-0, the Thunder lead that one. Former Allen American and Colorado Eagle Casey Piero Zabatel has one of the 2 Adirondack goals. South Carolina 1-0 lead in Norfolk at the Norfolk Scope. That's also, that one's in the first period. We'll be back with the drop of the puck in the second period here in Kalamazoo after this. It's 2-2. You're listening to K-Wings Hockey on AM 1660, The Fan. Off the side of the wrap-around chance, save, rebound, they score! Kalamazoo was and it was waved off twice, but I thought Taylor scored. Welcome back to Wings Event Center as we're ready to start the second period. The Kalamazoo Wings will skate left to right for our radio listeners in their red jerseys here in the second period. Fort Wayne will work right to left as you follow along. For those watching on ECHL TV, it's the opposite. Komets in their white jerseys, orange and black trim. 2-2 the score. The goal scorers again for Fort Wayne, Brady Shaw and Mason Bergh. For Kalamazoo, Dhillon Sadaway and Justin Taylor. And Taylor, second of the season, Sadaway's third. Sadaway, of course, was the hero against Cincinnati on Saturday, tying the game with the goalie pulled on the power play out of a scramble. His first of the year at that point with 1:27 left in regulation, and then he wasted no time in overtime, redirecting a centering pass from Tanner Sorensen, deflecting it over the shoulder of Michael Hauser, the Cincinnati goaltender, and the K-Wings won it 6 seconds into overtime thanks to Sadaway's second of the game. Both of them were power play tallies. His goal tonight was even strength off the face-off win from Kyle Blaney. First point of the season in his first game back in the lineup for number 18, Kyle Blaney. He won it clean to Sadaway for Sadaway to score that third goal of the year. The NHL, only 2 games on the slate. The Detroit Red Wings are in action in Ottawa, trying to get back on track, but the Senators just scored. Chris Tierney scored his third of the year for the Senators, so it's 1-0 Ottawa midway through the first. Pittsburgh is in Tampa tonight. That game starts right about now at the St. Pete Times Forum in Tampa Bay, Florida. The American Hockey League, the Utica Komets have the night off. They've been off to a blazing start to start the year. Our affiliates up there in Utica, New York have done a great job at the start of the season. Vancouver Canucks, our NHL affiliates here in Kalamazoo, they have tonight off as well. They will get back in action on, I believe it's Friday. Yeah, it's Friday against the Washington Capitals. A 6-3 start, though, for the Canucks against the 7-2-2 Capitals. So that should be a good one late Friday night. Kalamazoo does not play Friday. They will have a standalone Saturday game against the Tulsa Oilers here at Wings Event Center. So maybe a good chance if you can try to find a way to see the Vancouver game. Might be difficult, I suppose, unless it's a national broadcast, but Canucks are off to a great start. Some AHL scores where we let the ice settle a little bit from the intermission Zamboni. Texas fell to Chicago in Rosemont, Illinois. The Chicago Wolves, a 3-2 win over the Texas Stars. A game later on tonight, Ontario is in Bakersfield. Scoreless game in Rochester, early second period. The Rochester Americans hosting the Hershey Bears. Only trip for Hershey up to Rochester this year. Binghamton Devils lead the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins 2-0. And that game is second period action early in the second. Also early in the second, the Grand Rapids Griffins are at home at Van Andel Arena taking on the Milwaukee Admirals. It's 1-0 Griffins. And Belleville has a 3-0 lead over Laval up at the CAA Arena in Belleville, Ontario. And that game is also early in the second period in the American Hockey League. So a few score updates for you there. No changes to the ECHL score from the looks of it. And we still have a delay, and what it is not the ice. It's they're trying to put 20 minutes up on the clock. It still says 4 minutes. They may have to run this one manually with a stop clock if they can't get it to work. So the off-ice officials being put to work here on the second game of the season. I'm not sure what the malfunction is with the scoreboard up the big video board here, but we are underway in the second period here at Wings Event Center. This is dumped in on Jake Hildebrand's net. Hildebrand will cover it in the crease. And we'll get a face-off early here in period number 2. But I think only 10 seconds went off the clock there. It'll be very difficult for us now in the press box to give you a time on the clock, as we really have to rely on that video board clock. See if they can get it working. We'll try to find a way to have some accurate time updates, but we are officially underway here in the second period. 2-2 the score. Face off to the right of Hildebrand. It's won by the K-Wings. They can't clear, though. Brady Shaw keeps it in, shovels it in behind the net. Tyler Ganley outlets it up the middle for Blaney. Up the left wing side, out of the reach of Sadaway. He hustles to beat the icing, but can't get there. Winning the foot race was Fort Wayne defenseman Will Petchenig. Petchenig's first season in North America as a pro. He did play quite a bit in juniors in the Ontario Hockey League for Oshawa and Saginaw. Saginaw at the very end of his junior career, but he spent 3 years in the Swiss League. This is his first season in the ECHL. Face off to the right of Hildebrand. Blaney will go up against Jenks. AJ Jenks joined by Boudens and Szydlowski on this top line. Jenks wins the face-off to Bryson Martin. Szydlowski sweeps it across the blue line to Binkley. His shot swallowed up by Hildebrand, who closes the pads together, makes the save, and then finds the loose puck and covers. Face-off will be in front of Jake Hildebrand. Again, still working on that clock down on ice level, which is not showing up on the video board here in the second period. And we'll try to keep you up to date, if we can, as accurately as we can here in the second period. Face off to the left of Hildebrand, won by the Komets. Binkley at the point, D-to-D for Martin. Martin centers one, Szydlowski fires, that's blocked. Going down to block it was Van Voris, who lost his stick, and he gets help here from Lear. Lear hands Van Voris his stick. And it's pushed up the right wing by Wilson, but not out. Held in, Szydlowski high in the slot, off of a skate. Scooped up and played up the left wing, but held in by Binkley. Now Bergh finds Binkley, who fires, fought off by Hildebrand. The blocker save, and now it's angled out by Boston Lear. Back to Yannick Veilleux and across the Fort Wayne line. Veilleux left circle. He fires off the pads of Stephen Dhillon, the Fort Wayne goaltender. Martin went down in the corner. Here's Taylor, who fires, and that's swallowed up by Dhillon, and he dives out of his crease to cover up that loose puck. They have the clock working. There's 18:49 left here in the second period. 2-2 the score. Shots even at 12-12. Kudos to our technology crew, our IT crew, for working on that one quickly and efficiently and helping out all parties. That is some quick troubleshooting, I will tell you that. A minute and 11 seconds into the second period, and they got it working. So great job by that group. Face off here to the left of Stephen Dhillon. Zach Diamantoni on the draw. He wins it back to Corey Dunn. Dunn down into the corner now, looking for Diamantoni again. Diamantoni has help, and it's turned over. Here's Dauda. Dauda in the corner for Kovacs. He had an escape. It comes to the point. It's held in by Dunn. Dunn spins it in around the Fort Wayne net. Now stepping up to pinch is Aaron Tho. In behind the cage is Diamantoni. He's crunched by Petchenig. Into the circle. Dunn forces the turnover. Here's Dauda. Dauda gets the puck back high in the slot. Shoots one wide. Rebound off the back walls. Thrown through the crease. That time on the second try from Kovacs. The puck works its way into the neutral zone again. Dauda has it inside his own line. Up the left wing side for Tho. Onto the stick of Diamantoni. Back over to Tho in the circle. Pressure put on there, but Tho stays with it behind the net. And now trying to escape is Bayless, who feeds it up the right wing. And here come the Komets. It's Boudens reversing it for St-Amant. It was actually Bergh. Now St-Amant behind the net. Into the high slot for Brady Shaw. Backhand to forehand. Kick save. Hildebrand. Rebound chipped wide by Bergh on the right wing. Diamantoni tries to clear. It does roll out to center. Shaw will regroup in the neutral zone. Here's Shaw right back in. Tries a shot that's blocked. Has help from St-Amant. It rolls into the crease. Still loose. Flipped over the top of Hildebrand and then wide of the net. And it's shot around the boards and out by Dauda. This flutters all the way across the Fort Wayne goal line for icing with 17:39 left in the second. Still 2-2 here at Wings Event Center. And the shot's now 16-13 in favor of the Komets after that last flurry, but we're seeing how dangerous that line is for Fort Wayne. Brady Shaw, Sean St-Amant, Brett McKenzie is the normal center on that line. Mason Bergh was finishing his shift, and he had not changed yet, so now McKenzie will come on. Haas and Gottlieb are the two defensemen. Blocker side faceoff in front of Hildebrand. 17:33 left in the second. Diamantoni is chased. Luckily, Dauda is also a center, and he will come on to take this faceoff. It's pushed to the top of the circle. Hustling over was Diamantoni, who knocks it out to center. Haas hustles back into his own zone. Gets there first, and the K-Wings will change their forwards. Gottlieb works his way up the left wing and out to center ice. Gottlieb crosses over the Kalamazoo blue line. Tries to throw it towards the front. It's blocked by Gamley, who lost his stick and it went flying into the crease area. Now up to the point. McKenzie keeps it in for Fort Wayne. Left wing side, Gottlieb. Tries to center. Good pressure, though, by Zach Fry. Fry kicks it up the wall. It's turned over, though. Here's St-Amant. Back in towards the net. Cuts towards the front. Hildebrand closes the door with his right pad. Now back over to the near boards. Blaney chips it up the wall and out. And McKenzie will retrieve it in the neutral zone as he's chased by Sorensen. Brett McKenzie picks up speed up the right wing and into the Kalamazoo end. Stick handles around Fry. McKenzie centers into the circle for St-Amant. His shot goes wide of the net. And this is Ganley who lobs it back out into the neutral zone. It's blasted in from center by Bryson Martin, but the Komets were changing. And Kalamazoo will catch their breath as Tyler Ganley will outlet it up the left wing. This is lobbed to center. Big hit thrown on Fry by A.J. Jenks. Now on the near side, it's Sadoway. He has help from Taylor. Taylor still working at the half wall. It's knocked off his stick, and Sean Szydlowski starts the rush for the Komets. Szydlowski into the zone for Jenks. He was tripped up, and the puck goes into the corner. They were onside at the line and no penalty, and here's Taylor, who lobs it off the glass and out to center ice. Bryson Martin. Martin lost it to Lear, who taps it over to Veilleux. Right circle, shoots, and that sails over the top of the cage. And out of play, I believe off of a Komets stick, and the faceoff will stay in the Fort Wayne zone. Face-off to the glove side of Stephen Dhillon. It'll be Mason Bergh on the draw. And he's going up against Zach Diamantoni. 16:01 left in the second period. 2-2 the score. All 4 goals in that opening frame. Kovacs comes on to take this face-off as Diamantoni was chased. The puck goes off a skate towards the point, and it was held in momentarily at least by Matt Van Voris. And held in by Kovacs, shoveled towards the slot. Quick shot, they score! Falling down was Sandler, and it's 3-2 Kalamazoo. What a goal by Luke Sandler. He was being hooked up in the slot, and as he was falling down, snuck it inside the near post. First goal of the year for Sandler. And Kovacs will get the first assist. We'll see if there's a second one. It was almost like he was on his heels, kind of losing his edge in the slot when he fired it and fooled Dhillon. The quick trigger there from Luke Sandler. Smothered by Diamantoni and Kovacs in celebration, and that third line puts the K-Wings back in front. Luke Sandler's first goal of the season. He had 13 last year for Kalamazoo, after he was acquired in a trade with the Atlanta Gladiators 5 games into last season. Chicago, Illinois native, re-signed with the K-Wings this year. And he provides the go-ahead goal. Now 15 and a half minutes left here in the second period. 3-2 the score. Fort Wayne back ahead. Brady Shaw walks in, winds up, fires one wide. Big carom off the back wall, but it catches the back of the cage and stays there momentarily. Now pushed into the corner. Scooped up by St-Amant. He lost the puck but got it back in the circle. Good pressure from Zach Fry. Fry will clear it on his backhand ahead to Sorensen into the Fort Wayne zone. He lost it but has a trailer. It's Sadoway, walks in, shoots, and a save by Dhillon with the blocker. Sadoway tried to pick his spot, and Dhillon makes the blocker stop. 15:05 left in the second. Still 3-2 K-Wings. Sandler's goal assisted on by Kovacs and Diamantoni at 4:09 of the second period. Face-off will be to the left of Stephen Dhillon. Taylor on the draw, going up against A.J. Jenks. 3-2 K-Wings. 15:05 left here in the second period. Sandler with the go-ahead goal. K-Wings have not trailed in this game since Brady Shaw scored the first goal of the night, and it was answered fairly quickly from Dylan Sadoway that tied it up 1-1. This face-off won by Kalamazoo. It's Ben Wilson skating in deep behind the net. Circles into the left circle now. Wilson centers one. That goes off a body. It was Binkley. Now pushed back out to center ice again. Wilson off the stick of Veilleux, who hustles back to the Kalamazoo blue line, absorbs a check from Szydlowski, pushes it ahead to the Fort Wayne line. Morrison will go D-to-D for Binkley. Binkley will tap it up for Jenks, saucered over to the right wing side for Szydlowski. Van Voris knocks it ahead, and this trickles out to center ice. 14:35 left here in the second period. 3-2 K-Wings. Luke Sandler with the third Kalamazoo goal. Out come the Komets to center. Binkley pushes it ahead for Jenks. Right wing side now it's centered, but off the toe of the stick of Bryson Martin into the near boards. Martin got it back and fired one right through the slot. Nobody was home. Binkley steps up from the point to keep it in. Tapped over to the left circle again, but Kalamazoo comes away with it as Veilleux. Nudged ahead now by Lear. This is Van Voorhis. Goes back toward a Taylor, and it was deflected by Binkley, the assistant captain, at the last minute to prevent Taylor from getting a shot off. Long stretch pass from the Komets ahead, looking for Petruzzelli, but it was out of his reach and deflected. Delayed offside. Petruzzelli tags up, and out come the Komets, or out come the K-Wings to center. It was done with the stretch pass. Pushed back into the K-Wing zone, though. Now Dauda will try. His pass was in the skates of Kovacs. On the left wing, here comes Bayless into the Kalamazoo end. His pass goes all the way through. Petruzzelli collects it in the far corner. In behind Jake Hildebrand's net. Dunn tries to escape. His pass is deflected out by Kovacs. No, it was held in at the line by Marc-Olivier Duquette. Here's Bayless at the half wall. Cycles it down in behind the net. Mason Bergh. Bergh pressured from Aaron Tho. Tho lost his stick, though. Bergh gets help. Now into the left circle to the point. It's Duquette. Duquette fires. That's blocked. And Kovacs and Dauda were both there. One of them blocked it, and Kovacs fed it out to center for Dauda. Now Kovacs will dump it in behind the Fort Wayne net, and a wholesale line change for the K-Wings. Long pass ahead from Duquette, picked off by Ganley. Pushed ahead for Sadaway. He lost the handle at the top of the circle, and it's scooped up and lobbed back out for Bergh in the neutral zone. Bergh's pass misses St-Amant. Ganley plays it D to D, and this is turned over. Here's Brady Shaw, who picked it off clean, flips one towards the goal. Save made by Hildebrand. Hildebrand smothers it, but the turnover went right to Brady Shaw, and luckily Ganley was still back to make it a one-on-one situation. Hildebrand has it. Timeout on the ice. 12:45 left in the second period. 3-2 K-Wings. And Luke Sandler has the go-ahead goal. We're back after this. You're listening to AM 1660, The Fan. The fans are loving this one so far. A couple exciting home games to start the home schedule. A lot of time left in this one. 12:45 remaining second period. Kalamazoo leads Fort Wayne 3-2. But although tense, back and forth games are a lot of fun for the fans. Get behind their team, and that was the story on opening night against Cincinnati. A couple of leads for Kalamazoo. The Cyclones came back to tie it twice. Then Cincinnati went in front in the final 5 minutes. K-Wings tied it up with the goalie pulled late and then won it in overtime. Tonight's been back and forth like that. And here's a 2-on-1 for Veilleux and Lear. Veilleux left circle, walks in, shoots, glove save, rebound loose. Taylor shovels it towards the net, a big save. It was actually Van Voorhis with the second try, and Stephen Dhillon with a couple of monster saves. He squeezes the pads together, keeps it out of the net, and the score stays 3-2. But really started in the K-Wing zone. It was shoveled out to center, and Veilleux and Lear went in on a 2-on-1. The lone defenseman for Fort Wayne really committed to Lear on the backside the entire way, so he basically gave Veilleux the shot, and Dhillon made a huge save. And then Van Voorhis was the one who crashed the net with his second attempt on his backhand, and that's when Dhillon sprawled to cover up. Luke Sandler with the go-ahead goal here in the second period. Lear has it down in the corner, tries to work his way in behind the Fort Wayne net, puts on the brakes. He's shoved to the ice by Haas, but he has help from Veilleux. Veilleux into the far corner. Yannick Veilleux all the way to the point, spins it back in around the net for Boston Lear. Lear trying to work his way past Haas, who shoves him into the back wall. Now Wilson steps up from the point. Wilson behind the net for Lear. Lear goes across now to Taylor. Taylor throws it on goal from a sharp angle, and a save by Stephen Dhillon. Back over to the right wing half wall, past Van Voorst, but it's held in. It's Yannick Veilleux walking the blue line, saucering it over to the left wing side in the midst of a change. Now it's down low to Taylor on the goal line, tries to feed it to Veilleux, it's blocked. Second try, Veilleux at the side of the net, carries it in behind and into the right corner. Wilson steps up the pinch. Here's Veilleux, right circle. Veilleux checked in the high slot again as the puck rolls down into the left corner, and Gottlieb gets to it for Fort Wayne. Across to the near side, it's shot back out by Haas. It was tipped, so no icing, and a full change for Fort Wayne. They badly needed one there. Deflected in the neutral zone by Sandler, the latest goal scorer for Kalamazoo. Now pushed ahead by Bryson Martin. Corey Dunn working against Bryson Martin here on the near side. They continue to battle for it. Dunn has help from Dauda, and now it's pushed into the Fort Wayne end. Brinkley gets there first. Binkley plays it around the net to the far side. Petruzzelli can't quite clear. Held in at the point. Tipped in front by Sandler, but deflected wide. And it's banked back up the wall by Binkley ahead to Bayless and out to center for Bergh. Bergh dumps it down cross corner into the K-Wings end. First to the puck as it's shoveled around by Fry, but held in. Here's Pechenig. His shot sails over the top of the net and back out to center again. Fort Wayne will regroup there. Fast pace to this game. Bergh dumps it in around the K-Wings net. Hildebrand stops the puck, sails it around the glass, deflected to the line, but held in by Shaw. Brady Shaw dumps it back in on his backhand behind the net. Here's Corey Dunn. Forced out by Shaw quickly, and Dunn escapes. Up the left wing side, it's lobbed through center by Sandler. Kicked in by Sorensen. He's tripped up, and a penalty coming on Fort Wayne as Sorensen was tripped at the blue line. And Kalamazoo will go to their second power play of the night, presented by Culver's. They are 1 for 1. Justin Taylor scored the power play goal in the first period. Time of this penalty, 9:41, and it'll be on Will Pechenig. And it'll give Kalamazoo the 5-on-4 man advantage for 2 minutes. And it looks like Diamond Tony will continue to see power play time with his skill sets. Coach Boudens really been impressed with his improvement from day one as a rookie last year to where he is now early in his second season. He's joined by Kyle Blaney, Dhillon Sadoway, Tanner Sorensen up at the point as the fourth forward, and Aaron Tho, the lone defenseman. 3-2 Kalamazoo, almost at the midway point of this hockey game. Time of that penalty again, 9:41. There's 10:19 left in the second. Face-off won by the K-Wings, and they'll get set up on this power play. Tho down in the corner now, saucered across Sorensen, walks in, he scores! Tanner Sorensen, his first of the year, and the K-Wings stay perfect on the power play. They're 2 for 2, and they lead by a pair. It's 4-2. That was a perfectly executed offensive zone face-off play. When they show the replay, we can describe it for our ECHL TV viewers. Blaney in the corner here, saucered it to Sorensen, rifled it past Dhillon, but it was a pretty bang-bang play. Blaney won the draw. It was played up to the point, pushed back into the corner for Blaney, and Blaney is one of the best in the business when it comes to creating chances with his passing ability. He saw Sorensen cutting into the high slot, fed him a perfect feed, and Sorensen gets his first goal of the season. He had 64 points last year. Had an assist on the game winner the other night. Here's another scoring chance and a save by Dhillon, and he's got this one pinched up against the post as Luke Sandler tried for his second of the game. No dice that time. Sorensen from Blaney and Tho at 9:50 on the power play. Aaron Tho gets his second assist of the year. Blaney's second assist of the game. Now we're about at the midway point. 10:01 left in the second period, and Kalamazoo has their biggest lead of the night. 4-2 on 21 shots. Fort Wayne has 18 shots. K-Wings 2 for 2 on the man advantage. Fort Wayne still without a power play tonight. Here's Mason Bergh up the left wing. Petruzzelli at the half wall. Shoved in the corner. Reverses course. Now gets free in the circle. Petruzzelli walks in, shoots. It's blocked by Dauda. Flies up into the high glass and somehow stayed in play. Sandler to the point. Held in by Binkley. His shot goes wide on the stick side of Hildebrand. Deflects up to the line for Bryson Martin, and he'll shovel it back in. It took a bad bounce off the corner boards, and now Sandler will angle it out to center. And Martin will retreat to his own blue line. 9:25 left in the second period. 4-2 K-Wings. Bergh had it in his skates. Recovers in his own zone. Feeds it up the left wing boards for Martin, who plays the carom. And it's shot in from center by Shaw. Following it up is Bergh. Bergh circles the net, tries to wrap around, lost the handle, never got the shot off, and Corey Dunn sails it off the glass and out. Actually went out of play. Went off the glass and deflected into the bench. 9:06 left in the second period. Faceoff will come all the way back down in front of Jake Hildebrand. So 2 goals here in the second period. Luke Sandler put Kalamazoo in front with his first of the season. Tanner Sorensen added some insurance on the power play, his first of the year. Glove side face-off in front of the Butler, Pennsylvania native, Jake Hildebrand. Second straight start for Hildebrand. Jake Kiley is his backup, the rookie out of Clarkson, a Vancouver Canucks prospect. And with 2 games this week, we'll see what Coach Boudens decides if Kiley plays Saturday against Tulsa or if it's Hildebrand again, with Hildebrand winning Saturday and starting tonight. He has that 4-2 lead. Played up to the point for Sorensen. Sorensen onto the tape of Blaney. Poke checked off his stick by St-Amant. Now in the corner, Sadaway. Up to the half wall and then pushed back into the corner again. Blaney hustles over. Kyle Blaney knocks it free. Tries to saucer to the point. Broken up by Shaw and backhanded into the K-Wings bench. 8:34 left in the second period. Still 4-2 Kalamazoo. But how about the debut tonight from Kyle Blaney with 2 assists so far? He's been tremendous on the faceoff dot. He missed the first 2 games as he was on injured reserve to start the year, but back-to-back 40-plus point seasons for the Ryerson University alum, and in his 4th season in Kalamazoo, coaching staff is expecting big things from him here in year 4, and he's off to a good start here in his debut. Van Voorhis down into the corner in the skates of Lear. Lear gets free, but he's hooked up the whole way by Duquette. Now it's thrown out by Morrison. And poke checked off the stick of Szydlowski and shot back in to the Fort Wayne zone. The goaltender will play it. Dhillon now led up the left wing and out by Duquette. Van Voorhis reverses it up the right wing for Lear on his offhand tonight. Plays it across for Taylor to the left wing side. Tries to saucer it out front. Veilleux will chase it into the right corner. Veilleux to the point for Wilson. D to D for Van Voorhis. Van Voorhis sends it in around the net. All the way over to the right corner. Stepping up's Veilleux. Poke checking it into the circle, and it's scooped up now by Jenks. Jenks reverses it up the left wing side. Here's Szydlowski racing out to center. Sean Szydlowski weaving across the Kalamazoo line has help, and he gets the puck back left circle, shoots just wide of the far post. Hildebrand's glove side, that did not miss by much, about an inch off that far post. The K-Wings ice it here, and this will bring everything back into the Kalamazoo end with 7:32 left in the second. 4-2, K-Wings in front, shots close to even. Kalamazoo with a slight edge, 22-18. Try to get to some scores here in just a bit from other games going on. Again, there's only 3 games in the ECHL. Norfolk has tied it up in the second period against South Carolina. That's 1-1. Maine is on the board in the second period in Glens Falls. Adirondack still leads 2-1 in that game. Kalamazoo wins the defensive zone draw. Van Voorhis gets it to Kovacs in center ice, and he'll dump it in cross corner. First to the puck is Binkley, who plays it around the boards. It deflects to the line, held in by Diamond Tony, deflected wide by Kovacs, who knocked it out of midair. The K-Wings continue to work deep in the Komets' end. This third line has been very good here in the second period. Dunn tried to play it D to D, but it was tipped off of a Fort Wayne stick and back out to center. Back over to Corey Dunn, the right defensive position. Lobbed in on the back end by Kovacs. First to the puck is Binkley, who wraps it around the far boards, and it's held in by Aaron Tho on the pinch. Now in the right corner, Sandler tries to cycle it for Diamond Tony. Coming over to help is Petruzzelli for the Komets. Petruzzelli digs it out of the corner. 6:45 left in the second. Here comes Petruzzelli. Saucers it into the Kalamazoo end, but Tho quickly clears. Petruzzelli gets it back, works his way in on the right wing, and again it's Aaron Tho knocking it out to center. But we're going to get our first K-Wings penalty of the game, and it'll be a tripping call on Zach Diamond Tony, and that'll give the Komets power play their first work of the evening. Time of the penalty will be 13:28. Tripping on Diamond Tony. Fort Wayne's power play was 2 for 4, the season opener against Kalamazoo at Memorial Coliseum. Power play currently operating at a 26.7% clip through 3 games. Obviously, that'll be a tough number to continue. That's kind of at the ceiling of what you'll see most teams' power plays at season end, but very good so far. Kalamazoo's penalty kill just 62.5%, which is also lower than you would expect at season's end. And tripping on Diamond Tony, this shot's fired over the top of the net by Gottlieb. Deep in the Kalamazoo end, Ganley in the corner, jamming at it is McKenzie. McKenzie gets it free to St-Amant. Up top now for Gottlieb, who walks the blue line, finds Morrison at the top of the left circle, back to Gottlieb. Now to the top of the right circle, St-Amant. Down low, McKenzie tries to go across, sprawling out to block that centering pass. That time was Zach Fry. Good pressure at the point put on by Sorensen as it deflects to center, and the Komets have to tag up onside. 1:25 left on the penalty to Diamond Tony. 5:55 left in the second period. 4-2 K-Winks with 2 goals here in the middle frame. Morrison's poke check by Ganley upon zone entry, and that allows Sorensen to get back, and Sorensen fires it all the way down. Dhillon out of his net to play it as closing in. Oh, to Dhillon. What's the call here? This play's whistled down. Dhillon was skating away with it, but this play was whistled down. The face-off be to the right of Stephen Dhillon. Kalamazoo was charging in after it. Dhillon was stick handling, trying to get rid of it, and they stopped the play. Face off to the right of Dhillon. Jenks on the dot. There's 1:08 left on the K-Wings penalty. 5:40 remaining in the second period. Kalamazoo by a pair. Sandler out there on the kill now with Taylor, Van Voris, and Wilson. Here's a set breakout for Fort Wayne. It's Binkley working his way to center. Gets across the center red line and dumps it into the corner, and in behind the net, Van Voris is the first of the puck. Batted up to the line by Sandler, but not out. Binkley with the hold. Now on the left wing side, it's Bergh. Mason Bergh back up to Binkley, winds up, drops it off to Szydlowski, right circle. Here's Binkley, fires, blocked in front of Hildebrand, and back up to the left point again. Taylor back to his feet now. Binkley, right circle, Szydlowski goes across to Bergh, lost the handle, and it's shot all the way down by Sandler. And the K-Wings will scramble off on a change. All 4 players will change. Stephen Dhillon will leave it behind his net for Binkley. Closing in after it was Veilleux. Final 20 seconds on this Diamond Tony minor. Boudens is shoved at the Kalamazoo line. Bergh tries to reverse it in the circle, and it's knocked down by Ganley. Behind the net, fired around the boards by Fry. Kept in at the right point by Szydlowski. Down in the corners, Jenks. Back over to Szydlowski at the half wall, and up top for Bryson Martin, who tries a shot. It's tipped and goes just wide. Hildebrand, I think, got his left pad on it. Lear up ahead for Veilleux. Held in on the pinch by Martin. Out of the box comes Diamond Tony. K-Wings at full strength, but Komets still have the puck in the attacking zone. Jenks to Szydlowski. Szydlowski sticks lifted, and here comes Kalamazoo the other way. On the right wing into the offensive zone. Fry's pass catches a skate. Trailing the plays, Diamond Tony, right corner. Back down in behind the net now. Petruzzelli has his man tied up. That, I believe, is Lear. It is. Lear's trying to get free. Petruzzelli still has him wrapped up and finally lets him go. Now on the near side, McKenzie backhands it to the line, but it's held in. Spun on goal, and Dhillon the save as Veilleux just quickly spun at the line and fired it. And Stephen Dhillon has it between the wickets and hangs on. 3:56 left in the second period. A timeout on the ice. K-Wings in front by a pair thanks to second period goals from Sandler and Sorensen, and they kill off the first penalty of the night as well. We're back after this. You're listening to K-Wings Hockey on AM 1660, The Fan. Just 3 games on the ECHL schedule on this Wednesday night, early in the 2019-20 season. A chilly night in southwestern Michigan. Kalamazoo Wings with a 4-2 lead over the Fort Wayne Komets inside Wings Event Center. Teams were tied at 2 after 1. Goals from Luke Sandler and Tanner Sorensen here in the second period have cushioned things for Kalamazoo for the moment. Shots are 23-19 in favor of the K-Wings. 3:56 left in the second period. Zach Diamantoni on the draw. It's lifted up the wall, scooped up by Kovacs, skating to the point and keeping it in the zone. Then he tried the toe drag and lost the handle as it was taken off his stick by Petruzzelli, who finds Bayless. Bayless in on the left wing, down into the corner. Changes directions, feeds it in behind the net. Stepping up from the point was Gottlieb. Max Gottlieb down low, beneath the goal line. Gottlieb works his way in behind the net. Gets around Dunn, but he drew a penalty. Corey Dunn, I think, is going to go here on the next whistle. It's delayed right now as the Komets, unsuccessful on their first power play, will get their second chance in a moment. But Szydlowski's the extra attacker. Right circle, a shot sailed wide by McKenzie. Still delayed at 6-on-5 with the arm up. Here's a shot blocked. Rebound fanned on by McKenzie as it goes wide. McKenzie back over to the right wing. Szydlowski. It's finally touched up by Diamantoni. And tripping will be the call, and it will be on Corey Dunn. And that will give Fort Wayne their second power play of the period with 3:09 left. Time of the penalty, 16:51. And it looks like that top unit of Jenks, Szydlowski, Boudens, Bergh, and Binkley are the 5 Komets. Binkley, the lone defenseman. So 4 forwards. And at least for the face-off, starting things off up top will be Sean Szydlowski. Again, tripping the call on Dunn at 16:51. Kalamazoo's penalty killers. Ganley and Fry are the 2 defensemen to start. Blaney is taking the draw. And Sorensen is the 4th one. Beneath the goal line's Jenks. Tapped up to the point for Binkley. Komets work things around the perimeter. Bergh left point. His shot's tipped up into the high glass, but it stayed in play. Right corner, Szydlowski wraps it around the back wall. Stepping up from the point's Bergh to keep it in deep. Bergh flips it up towards the line for Jenks. Ran into Binkley, but held it in the zone. Now Bergh down to the corner for Jenks. Sent around the wall for Szydlowski, right wing. Szydlowski up top for Binkley, who centers up at the blue line. Drops it back to Szydlowski, right circle. His pass was tipped and goes in behind the net. Here's Jenks. Left wing side, it's Mason Bergh. Down beneath the goal line is Jenks again. Saucers at Szydlowski, fanned on the shot, and the puck trickles out to center, and all Szydlowski can do is look up to the sky. 2:25 left in the second period. 1:15 remaining on the penalty to Corey Dunn. Brought back in by the Komets. They'll set up again. Binkley, right wing side, Szydlowski shoots. Save made by Hildebrand. Rebound went up into the air. Caught the high glass, stayed in play, and is pushed to the point and held in by Binkley. Binkley around the left wing side. Stops towards the corner, works his way back up the wall. Finds Bergh at the point. Bergh fires, shots tipped, goes wide, never made it to Hildebrand. Now Ganley is shoved by Jenks in the corner. 2 players aside digging for this one. Ganley content with eating up as much time as he can with his skate pinning the puck up against the corner boards. Now just 40 seconds left on the penalty to Dunn. 1:47 left in the second period. Still 4-2 Kalamazoo. Ganley's on top of the puck, and the play will be whistled down now. As a great job by Tyler Ganley. He ate up probably 15, maybe 20 seconds there in that corner. Paid the price, too, and eventually got the whistle, and the faceoff will be to the right of Jake Hildebrand. 1:43 left in this second period. Shots are 23-20 in favor of the K-Wings. The go-ahead goal was scored by Luke Sandler. The insurance goal was a power play tally from Tanner Sorensen, his first of the year as well. Earlier tonight, Justin Taylor scored his second of the season. On the same night, he set the team's franchise record for games played, 496. Fort Wayne working in the offensive zone. 30 seconds left on the penalty to Corey Dunn. This is Morrison, top of the left circle. Shots blocked by Van Voris. Morrison again, back into the circle. It's Shaw up top. Quick pass from Gottlieb. Right side, St-Amant. His shot's kicked out. Right pad saved by Hildebrand. Now back into the corner. Or right circle, I should say, Morrison. Up to the point. Drops it off for Gottlieb at the line. Left point now back over to Morrison, top of the right circle. Morrison's pass was tipped. Gottlieb tries to keep it in. Poke checked at the line, but not out. Out of the box, though, comes Dunn. K-Wings at full strength, but here are the Komets in tight. Centering pass out front. Hildebrand the save. They score on the rebound, and it's 4-3. It'll be an even strength goal, and it is scored by Morrison. Brad Morrison gives the Komets their third goal. Corey Dunn had hopped out of the penalty box, and because he would have been the third defenseman and the penalty box is right next to the K-Wings bench, he changed for a forward who was trying to hustle back into the play, but the puck was in deep into the K-Wings end. And with Hildebrand sprawled out in his crease, Morrison buried it with 1 minute and 2 seconds left in the period. Time of the goal will be 18:58. And for Brad Morrison, his first goal in his third game with the Komets. Again, he had 20 points last year in the AHL and 50 games with Ontario. He gets goal number 1 for Fort Wayne this year, and it'll be an even strength goal right after that penalty ended to Corey Dunn. So now it's a tighter game again. 4-3 Kalamazoo still in front. Morrison from McKenzie and Gottlieb. They get credit with the 2 assists. Shot into the Fort Wayne end. Kalamazoo going to work with under a minute remaining in the period. Up to the point, Dunn. D to D now, Tho. His shot goes right into the breadbasket of the goaltender Dhillon, who had a K-wing skating right across his eyes in front of the net, trying to take away his vision on that shot from Tho, but he saw it into his pads, and he'll hold on. 46.3 seconds left in the period. Again, Kalamazoo will remain home for the third of 8 straight home games this Saturday. Orange ice. We will dye the ice orange for Halloween. Wear your Halloween costumes. There's a costume contest. The team will be wearing special jerseys, taking on the Tulsa Oilers for the first time this year. That is Saturday night here at Wings Event Center at 7 o'clock. Tickets available at kwings.com. Call the box office at the Wings Event Center as well. Or you can stop on into the Wings Event Center to purchase your tickets in person. And we're going to get a penalty here, I think. No, that was the first player chased from the dot. They chased Justin Taylor, so Yannick Veilleux will come in. But if 2 centers are chased from the dot, it's a delay of game penalty. Not the case here, but the faceoff was won by Veilleux. His shot was tipped wide. And now Adam Dauda up top. Here's Van Voris. Actually, it was not Taylor. It was Dauda all along. Taylor might have been shaken up on that last penalty kill, and Dauda is taking his spot at center here. 28 seconds left in the second period. We'll keep an eye on that situation as it's pushed up the left wing out of the reach of Veilleux. Bryson Martin gets back in time to beat the icing. Lobs it back out to center. Past everybody and all the way down. No icing here with 12 seconds left in the second period. Wilson's forced out from behind his net by Shaw. Up the left wing, it's Veilleux. Veilleux hops around a check by Binkley. Now Martin throws it around the boards. Final 3 seconds of the period. K-Wings won't be able to get a shot off. And the first 40 is complete here at Wings Event Center. K-Wings get 2 to take a 4-2 lead, but the Komets score late in the period right at the end of a power play. It's officially an even strength goal for Brad Morrison. And it is a 4-3 hockey game after 2 periods. Kalamazoo in front. We'll take a timeout, come back and summarize the first 2 periods of play. Next in our intermission report, the second period tonight was brought to you by Old Bergh. We're back with our second intermission after this. You're listening to K-Wings Hockey on AM 1660, The Fan. There's 10:19 left in the second. Face-off won by the Kings. Three-two Cal. And held in by Kovacs, shoveled. Welcome back to Wings Event Center here in the second intermission, where the Kalamazoo Wings lead the Fort Wayne Komets 4-3 after 40 minutes of play. The K-Wings scored twice in that second period. It was 2-2 after one. Fort Wayne scored first tonight. Brady Shaw on a rebound on a wraparound opportunity that sat in the crease. 9:26 of the first period to give the Komets the 1-0 lead. And then Dhillon Sadaway tied things up for Kalamazoo off a face-off win. 2 minutes and 2 seconds later, it was 1-1 at that point. Kalamazoo went in front 2-1. Justin Taylor, his second of the season on a power play. That was at the 16-minute mark of the opening frame. It was initially not ruled a goal. Play continued, and at the next whistle, they reviewed it. There is official video review this year across the entire ECHL, and they reviewed that play. Taylor was indeed awarded the goal, and so it was 2-1 Kalamazoo. Fort Wayne tied it late in the period. Mason Bergh, his second at 18:21, and that was the score after one. In the second, Luke Sandler scored his first of the year at 4:09. Kind of a nice goal, really, as he was kind of falling down in the high slot area. He was being hooked up a bit, and he just spun one on goal quickly, and as he hit the deck, the puck went into the net, and it gave Kalamazoo the 3-2 lead. First of the year from Sandler. Kovacs and Diamond Tony picked up the 2 assists. Tanner Sorensen made it 4-2 on a power play early in the K-Wings' second power play at 9:50 of the period. Sorensen from Tho and Blaney, and it was a 4-2 game, but Fort Wayne scored right after a power play ended late in the period at 18:58. Brad Morrison's first of the season as he cleaned up the garbage in front, and Brett McKenzie and Max Gottlieb picked up the 2 assists as it is 4-3 K-Wings after 40 minutes. Shots are 24-22 in favor of Kalamazoo. K-Wings are 2 for 2 on the power play. The Komets are 0 for 2. Jake Hildebrand stopped 19 of 22 shots through 2 periods, and Stephen Dhillon has stopped 20 of 24. We'll come back with the ECHL Plays of the Week after this. You're listening to K-Wings Hockey on AM 1660, The Fan.
Here on the EC.
In the slot! Shot! Save! Game is over!
Here on the ECHL Plays the Week, this is voice of the Reading Royals, David Fine. The Idaho Steelheads opened up their home schedule with a pair of games against the Wichita Thunder, looking to expand on their best start in 10 seasons. The last time these teams had met, the Steelheads were bested in overtime by Wichita, but they were on the better end of a post-regulation result this time. Playing in his first game at CenturyLink Arena since last December, the Beard, Colton Saucerman, scored the overtime winner.
Lost trouble getting in Chris Crane, pun intended, Craney back in deep, and Nelson sauce it back to pun intended, Saucerman back in the blue line. Saucerman, right side, gets a lane, drags in, cuts short, Dhillon, puck is loose, he scores! Game, set, match, Bilko! Colton Saucerman forces the rebound right through Mitch Gillum. The Steelheads stay perfect on the season with a 2-1 overtime win against the Thunder.
For the second straight year, the Steelheads won their home opener in overtime. And with a victory on Saturday night, the team remained unbeaten in 4 straight games to start the season. Now this week, they're down in Kansas to play Wichita and then go south to play Allen. Colin Shuck with the call on KTIK. Meanwhile, the Utah Grizzlies were no strangers to scoring goals, 21 of them in 3 games last week. How about 2 straight hat tricks for Josh Dickinson?
Wagner over into the corner along with Torreo as they're hacking away. Wagner tries with the centering feed, shot and a goal! Josh Dickinson for the second straight game has scored the hat trick. On the power play, 5-on-3, the Grizzlies have made it a 6-1 game. I don't believe this. Second straight hat trick for Josh.
Tyson Whiting with the call on the Grizzlies radio network. Utah won 10-4 over the Allen Americans that night. The most goals in the game by the Grizzlies since they joined the ECHL in 2006. Dickinson completed the week, 7 goals, 8 points, and won ECHL and Glasgow Player of the Week. Down south, the Atlanta Gladiators began the 2019-20 season in style. They downed division rival Greenville. Halfway through the second period, a big hit led to an important goal.
And a shot has scored another assist by Hadoud as Conway gets his second goal of the game. A Gladiators goal, and we're all knotted at 3.
That was Ira Liebman with the call from the Gladiators radio network. Conway went on to score a hat trick, leading the Gladiators to a 6-4 win. And for those Swamp Rabbits, Liam Pecoraro scored his first professional goal on the power play, the first of 6 goals in a Swamp Rabbits victory over Jacksonville on opening night on Friday. Pecoraro scored the first goal in all 3 games of the weekend, 5 points for Greenville.
Larkin to Pecoraro, top of the left circle, shoots, he scores! Liam Pecoraro, his first pro goal, and the Swamp Rabbits off and running. 4 minutes in, it's a power play goal.
Thanks to Jordan Coons on the call on 1063 WORD. Staying below the Mason-Dixon line, after spoiling the Norfolk Admirals home opener in Week 1, the Florida Everblades were trying to avoid having their home opener spoiled by the Admirals this past Saturday. Norfolk was on the power play, and its netminder was pulled for an extra attacker in the last minute of regulation at Hertz Arena, but on stepped Michael Huntebrinker, who scored the game winner on the Admirals opening night. He helped sink the Ads, hopes of tying the score.
Goes, plays in the penalty kill for the remainder of this game. Once the Admirals manage to tie it here, Coughlin, left wing of feet, stolen away by Winicky, punching forward for Huntebrinker, 2-on-0, empty net, shoots, scores! And Hertz Arena erupts as the Blades seal the deal on opening night. 29 seconds left. Michael Huntebrinker is second of the season off the empty net. It's 4-2.
Heading into week 3, Florida undefeated, 3-0 for the third time in 4 seasons under head coach Brad Ralph. And that was Dan Corcoran with the call on WJBX, News Talk and More. And finally in the South, forward Andrew Chernichan netted his second goal of the weekend to push the South Carolina Stingrays past the Atlanta Gladiators on Saturday night. The Rays drew a sellout crowd, 7,250 at their home opener, to improve to 3-0 on the season with a 4-2 victory. Here's the call from the voice of the Stingrays, Jared Shafrin.
Go back, moves into Chernichan, his shot, he scores! Andrew Chernichan with a lightning quick wrist shot. He's got his second goal of the season, and the Stingrays strike on the Domino's power play for the second time in the game.
The Kalamazoo Wings led the Cincinnati Cyclones twice. Then they fell behind late in regulation Saturday at the Wings Event Center. A power play looking for its first goal picked the perfect time to strike. The goaltender was pulled for an extra attacker, and the K-Wings found Pedro.
Kovacs left circle. Kovacs, throw, shot deflected, they score! This game is tied! It went off a body and goes across the goal line. 3-3, and it's the first power play goal of the season. Dhillon Szydlowski might have had the last touch as he was screening the goaltender Hauser.
Szydlowski indeed got credited with the goal, and for good measure, the former Toledo Walleye forward sent the crowd home happy. He also sent home John Peterson happy on AM 1660 The Fan. We'll move to the north and a little bit east. The Worcester Railers had a come-from-behind 3-2 shootout win over the Maine Mariners last Friday night. Veteran forward Kyle Thomas tied the game at 2 with 2:09 left in regulation, and Cam McGuire with the call on 98.9.
Back the other way, right to left. Here they go. 2-on-2. Kyle Thomas to Hitchcock. Skarek out of the net now. Thomas in front. He scores! Worcester ties the game at 2 apiece with 2:09 to play. It's Kyle Thomas, his second of the season.
In his first year with the Railers, Thomas is off to a hot start, tied for the team lead with 3 points. He's got 2 goals and a helper. Maine would get revenge the next night, this time spoiling the Reading Royals home opener at the Santander Arena in Reading. Mariners forward Ty Ronning turned 22 on Sunday, and he kicked off his birthday weekend celebration early. He scored a pair of goals, 3 points in a 5-3 Maine victory, including this one.
Ronning to the blue line. Savage for Taylor's one-timer. Stop. Rebound. Ronning. Stopped by Sandstrom. Sandstrom has had some rebound control issues. Wallen to the front of the net. Here's Ronning. Scores! Ty Ronning scores his second goal of the game as he was in the right place at the right time to pounce on that loose puck. And the Mariners have their largest lead of the night, 5-2, with just over 4 minutes to go.
That call comes courtesy of Michael Keeley on the Mariners broadcast network. Ronning finished the 2-game series with 3 goals and 2 assists, and the Mariners and Royals split the weekend. And speaking of that weekend series, it was not for a lack of resilience by the Mariners that they earned the split. The Reading Royals allowed 3 straight goals to the Mariners, so it was tied entering the third period in Sunday's second half of the back-to-back. But then Reading scored twice in the third to win the game.
He's out there with Goudreau and Yates. Set Kudemi, slot rip, score! Oh, that's a water bottle popper! Ralph Kudemi, the Royals have the lead back. It's 4-3, 4:30 gone in the third.
Thanks again for tuning into our first edition of the ECHL Plays the Week. Signing off this time from the City of Positive Change. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and enjoy the hockey.
We're back with the start of the third period here at Wings Event Center after this on AM 1660 The Fan. We are underway here in the third period at Wings Event Center, Kalamazoo, Michigan. The Kalamazoo Wings have a 4-3 lead over the Fort Wayne Komets. Face-off coming up here for the K-Wings in the attacking zone. Pretty early here after the drop of the puck. Jake Hildebrand had to make a great right pad save on a point-blank shot from about right at the top of the circles, right in between the circles in the high slot. So a big save by Hildebrand to keep his team in front. We're 34 seconds into the third period. Kalamazoo scored twice in the second period. Luke Sandler and then Tanner Sorensen on the power play. A late goal, though, by Brad Morrison for the Komets brought them back to within one. That's where we stand. The Komets so far are 0 for 2 as the K-Wings are perfect on the Advia Credit Union penalty kill tonight. And they're also perfect on the Culver's power play, 2 for 2 themselves. We're 5 on 5 here early in the third. Yannick Veilleux, deep in the offensive zone, tries to cycle it. It hopped the stick of Justin Taylor. It's good news he is back out on the ice. Just missed one shift late there in the second. Good poke check by Wilson. Here's Veilleux, shoots, and a glove save by Stephen Dhillon. He saw that one all the way in, but Veilleux was left uncontested in the left circle right about at the hash marks. And Ben Wilson held the zone and found Veilleux. 25th shot for Kalamazoo tonight. Stephen Dhillon has 21 saves. At the other end, Jake Hildebrand has stopped 20 of 23. We're about a minute into the third period here at Wings Event Center. Face off to the right of Stephen Dhillon, and it's Adam Dauda, the rookie out of Bratislava, Slovakia. He's lived most of his life in North America, though, up in Canada. Ended up playing his college hockey at Colgate University. And he won a championship with the Sydney Bears in September on Labor Day, as a matter of fact, in the Australian Ice Hockey League, which their season is during the summer months. It was right before training camp here in Kalamazoo, a month before training camp opened. So Dauda was active during the offseason. He did play a handful of games for Newfoundland at the end of last season, but he did not make the playoff roster. Dauda off to a good start this year, his rookie season, a goal in the opener at Fort Wayne and an assist Saturday night against Cincinnati. Here come the Komets through center. 4-on-2, good play made by Corey Dunn at his own blue line. Pushing it back to center, Petruzzelli receives the puck at his own blue line and angles it all the way into the K-Wings zone. Hildebrand out to play it. Forecheckers close in fast, but getting rid of it that time was Tho, and now it's lifted out of play into the Komets bench, or was it over the Komets bench? This might be a delay of game penalty here on the K-Wings. It will be. Justin Kovacs will head off for delay of game. He tried to clear it from his own end, and he lifted it over the Fort Wayne bench and out of play. And that will give the Komets their third power play of the night. They are 0 for 2. Kalamazoo goes back to the Advia Credit Union penalty kill. Face off to the right of Jake Hildebrand. 18:31 left in the third period. Brought to you by Athletic Mentors. Kalamazoo with a 4-3 lead. Kovacs for delay of game at 1:29. Face-off won by the Komets. They'll get set up with a chance to tie this one up, but they turn the puck over. Calmly clearing it all the way down was Zach Fry. Fry and Ganley are the two defensemen. Sorensen and Blaney are the two forwards to start off this kill. Here comes Gottlieb out to center, heckled by Sorensen into the turnover. Blaney's pass, though, is behind Sorensen. Sorensen will chase after it deep in the Komet zone, shorthanded behind the net, tries a wraparound, off the pad of Dhillon, rebound, just out of the reach of Fry, who hustles back into the neutral zone. Komets struggling to get anything going up ice as they misfire on this drop pass. And now the goaltender Dhillon will feed it to Gottlieb, and he'll work his way out. Left wing, it's Morrison, the latest Komet goal scorer. He'll dump it down into the corner. First of the puck, Van Voris shovels it up the boards of the half wall. McKenzie will try to get settled to set up this power play. He does so, tries to feed it out front. It's blocked by Fry. Now a centering pass, Shaw, and it's fought off by Hildebrand with his mask. It caught the neck protector that's hanging from his mask. A big save by Hildebrand as Shaw was all alone in front. Here's St-Amant at the half wall. Under a minute left on the power play. Diving to poke check this one was Van Voris. Knocking it off the stick of Shaw. And here come the K-Wings back to center. Justin Taylor blasts it in wide of the net. Dhillon out to play it. Veilleux chasing. Dhillon wraps it around the boards. Taylor hustles over It's knocked out to center, and here's Morrison cutting into the K-Wing zone 3-on-2. Lost the handle in the slot. Wilson catches up to it, rifles it to the point, but not out. Here's Szydlowski, a drive off the crossbar. Szydlowski rang the iron over the shoulder of Hildebrand. It stays in play. Bergh fans on the pass across the slot. Now it's in the skates of a K-Wing defenseman. That's Ganley. Up the left wing side. It's shut all the way down by Veilleux with 10 seconds left on the penalty to Kovacs. The fans get into it. 16:35 left here in the third. The penalty's about to expire to Kovacs. Komets right back into the offensive zone off a skate. Binkley tries a shot up high. Save Hildebrand. It falls to the ice. Still loose in front of him. A scramble. And Hildebrand covers at the edge of his crease. And the K-Wings are back to full strength. Komets power play now 0 for 3. Tense waters here at Wings Event Center for the home team, hanging on to their 4-3 lead. There was the replay on ECHL TV. Sean Szydlowski with a bomb that went off the crossbar and just stayed out. The goaltender's best friend. Hildebrand had to make some big stops as well on the penalty kill. That was the best chance for Fort Wayne to tie this game so far. 16:24 left in the third period. Shots 27-24, Kalamazoo leading by a goal. Second of 8 straight home games here early in the regular season for the K-Wings. And winning the faceoff was Kyle Blaney with 2 assists tonight in his return to the lineup, activated earlier today from injured reserve. Good pressure by Sorensen, threw it off the pad, save, they score! Sadoway has his second of the game and his 4th in the last 2 nights. It's 5-3. Sorensen threw it off the pad of Dhillon from the corner, and Sadoway banks it into the open net. And he is piping hot right now for Kalamazoo. Dhillon, Sadoway's 4th of the season. Sorensen on the forecheck picked the pocket clean of Binkley and then threw it off the pad of Dhillon from the corner, and that rebound was juicy as Sadoway cut into the slot and made no mistake. 5-3 Kalamazoo. Still early third period. Time of the goal, 3:46. Off this face-off, the puck bounces into the Kalamazoo end. It's Aaron Tho. Up the middle for Dauda and back to the defense. Tho and Dunn play catch. Tho to center for Diamond Tony. Diamond Tony circles, saucers it across, out of the reach of Sandler. This will be icing as Petruzzelli is the first man to the puck. And that'll bring everything back. Now some pushing and shoving, and it's Sandler getting into it with Haas, I believe. And that was a little bit back and forth, so they either both go to the box or neither of them go to the box, I would imagine. And it looks like in this case, both will get away with it. Sandler and Haas with a little pushing and shoving. This is the one game this year. There hasn't been a lot of that extracurricular stuff going on after the whistle. There were a lot of penalty minutes in Kalamazoo's season opener in Fort Wayne between these two teams. There were even more in the game against Cincinnati. 80 penalty minutes, I believe, in that game. There were 49 from the Cyclones. Yeah, there were 96 penalty minutes between Cincinnati and Kalamazoo on Saturday. Again, Sadoway's goal comes from Sorensen, and they give Tho the second assist at 3:46 of the third period. It's 5-3, second of the game for Szydlowski. Sorensen with a multi-point game, Tho with a multi-point game. Sorensen with a goal and an assist, and Tho has 2 helpers. Petruzzelli deep in the Kalamazoo end. Petruzzelli behind the net. Couple of K-Wings in the area. Now A.J. Jenks waiting for it, but it's knocked away from him. Lifted off the glass of the line, held in by Szydlowski. It was in the skates of Dunn. He leads it to the line, held in by Petruzzelli, but that one's blocked by Dunn. And here come the K-Wings the other way. Diamond Tony drops it down into the corner for Dauda. In behind the net is Marc-Olivier Duquette. Duquette up the right wing side. Lobbed out to center by Petruzzelli. Dumped in around the net by Mason Bergh. First to the puck is Kalamazoo captain Ben Wilson. Long pass ahead to Yannick Veilleux into the Fort Wayne zone. Veilleux puts on the brakes at the half wall. Tries to get a pass through, and it's intercepted in front of the net by Duquette. Here come the Komets the other way. Gottlieb is crunched by Wilson, and Fort Wayne is offside at the line. 14:39 left here in the third period. 5-3, K-Wings in front. In that last goal, second of the game and fourth of the season for Dhillon Sadaway. And it was an insurance goal. He started things off for Kalamazoo in the first period, tied the game 1-1 off of a face-off win from Kyle Blaney. Saturday night, he played the role of the hero twice. He tied the game with 1:27 left and an empty net at the K-Wings end. And then he won the game 6 seconds into overtime. Face-off won by Kalamazoo. Fry D-to-D for Ganley. Out of the reach of Kovacs, but no icing. It was tipped. Out of his net is Dhillon to play it. Kovacs knocked it out of midair, but it falls in the corner, and Bergh lobs it to center. Calmly batted down by Ganley. Spinning and firing it back in on goal with Sandler. Into the corners, Bergh for the Komets. Up the right wing side for Petruzzelli. He knocks it out to center, and it skips into the Kalamazoo end. Fort Wayne with a wholesale line change. Long pass ahead, tapped along for Diamond Tony, back into the Komet end. Sandler behind the net now is crunched by Shaw. Sandler and Shaw battle for it in the corner. Shaw takes him down. Over to help is Diamond Tony. Now it's knocked into the circle and kicked to the point by Sorensen. Here's a shot rifled wide on the play. It was Aaron Tho. St-Amant will clear it out to center. Zach Fry bats it back into the Fort Wayne end. Then Kalamazoo will finish off a change, but Diamond Tony's going to go to the box as he cross-checked a Fort Wayne player in the neutral zone right in front of the officials. Diamond Tony to the K-Wings penalty box for the second time tonight. Time of the penalty, 6:16, and with Kalamazoo leading by a pair, Fort Wayne will go back to the power play. After this, you're listening to K-Wings Hockey on AM 1660, The Fan. Second of 8 straight home games. And winning the faceoff. Zach Diamond Tony to the Kalamazoo Wings penalty box for cross-checking at 6:16 of the third period. Still plenty of time in this one, 13:44 remaining. It was way behind the play, but right in front of the officials' eyes. And Fort Wayne will go back to the power play for the fourth time. Kalamazoo perfect so far on the Advia Credit Union penalty kill, but you're playing with fire if you give this Komets team too many opportunities. And even with a 2-goal lead, not a penalty you want to see, as now the K-Wings will have to kill this one off. Face-off won by A.J. Jenks with help from Bergh. Bergh down to Jenks in the corner behind the net, now centered Szydlowski. Binkley fires and Hildebrand gets into position to rob him. About a foot outside the crease, Hildebrand played that perfectly. He got down into the butterfly and swallowed up that shot from Binkley. 9 seconds into the power play. Komets have Szydlowski, Jenks, Boudens, Bergh, and Binkley. That is a lot of firepower with a lot of ECHL experience between Binkley, Jenks, and Szydlowski. Bergh and Boudens are the rookies, but very talented rookies. Oh, this one's rifled into the K-Wings bench, and who did that one catch? It was a clearing attempt. Might have caught the headman, Nick Boudens. Everybody tried to get out of the way, and hopefully everybody's all right over there, but that one was a K-Wings face-off win, and then they tried to just fire that one down the far side of the ice and scattered their own bench. 1:48 left on the penalty to Diamond Tony. 13:32 left in the third. Wilson blasts this around the boards. Bergh will keep it in at the left point. Up top for Binkley. That one's knocked away by Sorensen, and he's been money tonight, especially on the penalty kill. He'll chase it down. Dhillon will play it around the boards. Left wing side, it's Bergh. Mason Bergh has to stop and pull back into his own zone, and there's Sorensen heckling him the whole way. Up the right wing, Szydlowski back to Binkley, and across the rink on the left wing's Boudens. He'll dump it in. Hildebrand stops it behind his net. Throws it around the near boards. Szydlowski lets it go to the point. It's Binkley. Walks the blue line, sets up for Fort Wayne. Top of the right circle, Szydlowski back up top, Binkley. Left circle now. It's Boudens. Shots tipped wide. And in behind the net, the Komets will try to regroup. Here's Jenks into the right circle. Jenks to Szydlowski. A drive, save. Hildebrand, he doesn't see it. They score. And it's 5-4. Hildebrand didn't see the rebound sitting there. Another goal for Fort Wayne on a rebound situation in front with bodies in front of the goaltender, Hildebrand. He thought he had it. He did not. And it's jammed home for a power play goal, and Fort Wayne is 1 for 4 on the man advantage. This one will go to Matthew Boudens, who now has 3 goals against Kalamazoo this year. Time of that goal will be 7:13, and it's a 5-4 game. For Boudens, his team-leading 4th goal of the season. He's now tied with Dhillon Sadaway for the K-Wings, who has 2 tonight. And those two fought on opening night in Fort Wayne with the first fight of the season. Face off at center ice. Fort Wayne's back to within 1. This is Shaw into the Kalamazoo end. Bouncing puck is banked up the far boards, but not out. Back in behind the K-Wings net. Zach Fry with it. Fry will escape out from behind his cage, launches it up the left wing, redirected in by Sandler. Hustling after it's Kovacs. First man in is Haas, the rookie playing his first pro game. Frees it up for Duquette. Actually, that's McKenzie, and his pass goes all the way down, and Zach Fry wins the foot race against St-Amant and gets the icing call, but it'll be Boudens from Szydlowski and Jenks keeping things rolling for Fort Wayne. Szydlowski set that up with the shot from the top of the right circle that Hildebrand initially stopped, but that rebound sat in the crease, and everybody, I think, thought Hildebrand had it in his pads because there was nobody in red really scrambling to try to clear it out of the crease. Nobody saw it, and eventually Boudens stepped up and just poke-checked it into the net, basically. 12:19 left in the third. 5-4 Kalamazoo. Shots are 30-29 in favor of the home team, but here's a possible 2-on-1 for the Komets. St-Amant, right circle. St-Amant on his backhand. Collision with the goaltender. Hildebrand has it in his glove. What a save by Hildebrand as he knew he was going to be bulldozed, and he caught it out of the air and held on. St-Amant made a great play, forehand to backhand, and flipped it on goal. Hildebrand saw the collision coming and knew it might not feel very good, but he reached up and caught it out of the air and made sure it never went into the net. 12:10 left in the third period. Very entertaining couple of games here at Wings Event Center to start the home schedule. Between Saturday's home opener and tonight's first Wednesday night 2-6-9 night game, both against Central Division rivals. There will be a lot of them. 14 against Cincinnati, 14 against Fort Wayne this year. 8 of these 14 games against the Komets, though, will be at Memorial Coliseum. There are just 6 here at Wings Event Center. Here's Morrison, fires with a screen, that's blocked. Morrison gets it back. The second one's blocked and bounces to the side of the cage. K-Wings come away with the puck. It's Dowda up the left wing for Sandler, who angles it in to the Komet zone. Gottlieb will hustle back to play it, no icing. His outlet pass was knocked down. On the second try, it is cleared to center. Sandler gets back in front of his own bench, has it poke-checked off his stick, but Van Voris helps it out to center. Matt Van Voris, the rookie out of Edina, Minnesota, blasted in around the Fort Wayne net. Stopped there by Dhillon. Fed back over to Brad Morrison on the right wing. Morrison launches it to center. It's gloved, and then tripped up on the play was Wilson, and they're going to let that one go as Bayless got his stick in the skates of Wilson. But back in comes Boston Lear. Lear down low beneath the goal line. Sanders one for Veilleux. He couldn't pull the trigger. Poke check by Morrison. Now Taylor behind the net absorbs a check from Gottlieb. Into the far corner. Going to work is Veilleux. Veilleux pressured by Bergh. Feeds it to the point for Van Voris. Stick handles to keep it in the zone. Floats it into the slot. Bounces into the crease off the goal stick of Dhillon, and then swept around the boards by Gottlieb, but picked off by Veilleux left circle. Veilleux centers, and that one's off the right pad of Dhillon. Veilleux gets it back into the right circle. Veilleux turns and fires. It's blocked. Up top is Wilson. Walks in. He shoots with a screen. That's knocked down. Van Voris tries to sweep at it from his belly. Couldn't get the shot off. Van Voris hustles back to the point to keep it in. But finally the Komets escape. And here they come the other way as Bayless will just drop it down into the K-Wing zone. And everybody on both sides changes. 10:35 left in the third. Still 5-4 Kalamazoo. Shots are 31-30 in favor of the K-Wings. 5 new skaters for each side. Long outlet pass to center onto the stick of Kyle Blaney. He's hit hard in front of the Komets bench by Boudens. Back over to the left wing side, Fry. His shot's blocked. Back over to Fry at the half wall. Into the circle. Centering pass deflected to the line and skips past Blaney, who is a little slow back to his feet and looks to be all right, but he's going to head off on a change here. Sorensen will hustle in after it. He checks Bryson Martin. It's played around the boards. Right wing Szydlowski. Back across the rink, just out of the reach of Boudens. He catches up to it, drops it off to Jenks. Sharp angle shot, swallowed up by Hildebrand, and he's got it between the pads. 9:53 to play. 5-4 Kalamazoo. Another high-scoring affair tonight. There were 7 combined goals scored on opening night in Fort Wayne. There were 7 combined goals scored Saturday here against Cincinnati. Here's one of the top goals tonight they're showing on the video board. You're seeing it on ECHL TV if you're watching. Luke Sandler falling down with a terrific goal. There was Tanner Sorensen's power play goal as well. Kalamazoo hanging on to that 1-goal lead. Both teams have had lots of chances here in the third period. It's been opened up quite a bit. Fort Wayne wins this offensive zone draw. Binkley's shot's blocked by Sandler. Bounces into the left corner. This is Brett McKenzie. Cycles it in for Brady Shaw. Shaw will be checked off the puck. He has help now from St-Amant. Back over to the half wall. Dowda tries to clear it. It's tied up over there. And finally, the K-Wings come away with it as it's redirected out by Sandler. But this will go the full length of the ice, and it'll be another K-Wings icing, bringing everything back down in front of Hildebrand. Paid attendance tonight, 1,394 inside Wings Event Center on this Wednesday night, early in the regular season. Face-off will be to the right of Jake Hildebrand. 9 minutes, 29 seconds left here in the third period, presented by Athletic Mentors. Fort Wayne answering the K-Wings insurance goal that was scored by Dhillon Sadaway, which, if the score holds, would be the game winner for the second straight game for Sadaway. After the Komets close the gap a bit, Matthew Boudens with their 4th goal earlier here in the third period. This is backhanded ahead. Petruzzelli gets tangled up there with Zach Fry, who was leaping to try to catch it out of the air. Now in the K-Wing zone. It's turned over, and the centering pass from Bergh does not reach its target, but it comes to the point. Duquette's shot's blocked by Diamond Tony. Petruzzelli from a sharp angle fires it wide, and it goes around the back wall and up to the right wing side. Poke checked out to center by Dowda, and pushed back in offside by Duquette as this play is whistled down. 8:51 remaining. Taking a look at some other ECHL games. Adirondack has won tonight, 5-2 the final. They beat the Maine Mariners. So the Adirondack Thunder moved to 2-1-1. And early in the third period, the Norfolk Admirals just 1-3 on the year, trying to hand South Carolina their first loss of the season. Stingrays 3-0. It is a 2-1 lead for the Admirals in that game. In the NHL, the Red Wings trail 4-2 after 2 in Ottawa. Senators blew things open there. Jean-Gabriel Pajot, Anthony Duclair both scored goals in that second period. The Red Wings goals coming from Darren Helm and Tyler Bertuzzi, but in the Red Wings trail by a pair, struggling out of the gate, 3-6 on the year. Back in our game, K-Wings with a clear on the good back check by Ben Wilson, beating the Kalamazoo forechecker to the puck. Szydlowski now slides it in. Wilson gets back to retrieve, skates behind his net. He'll pause back there. Szydlowski and Boudens deciding where to force Wilson to pass it. Wilson outlets it up the right wing for Veilleux. Back to gather it is Gottlieb in the Fort Wayne zone. 8:20 left here in the third period. 5-4 K-Wings. Carrying it through center is former Toledo forward A.J. Jenks. Jenks on the right wing. Up top it's Bryson Martin. His shot's blocked in the slot by Boston Lear. Tho lobs it ahead off the glove of Veilleux. Knocked out by Taylor and into the Komets' end. And Kalamazoo will head off on a change. 5 new skaters. Sorensen's line returns. Gottlieb up the right wing to Shaw. Tapped along for St-Amant. St-Amant in behind the net. Tries a wraparound. Saved by Hildebrand. Rebound shoveled up the right wing, and here come the K-Wings 3-on-2 through center. This is Sorensen. He's got Blaney cutting. Blaney gets his shot off, but it goes wide. Blaney back in the corner. Tries to go across the seam, but it's in the skates of Fry. Spins and fires. That's blocked. And bounces back to the line, and Blaney hustles over to keep it in. Saucers it over to Fry again, who knocks it down into the far corner. Back behind the net, Bryson Martin. Up the left wing for Shaw. He absorbs a check from Ganley, who keeps it in the zone, but now the Komets escape. It's St-Amant. 7:20 left in the third period, 5-4 Kalamazoo. Some friendly fire as two Komets collide, but they keep possession of the puck as the third forward, Brady Shaw, gets it. Backdoor feed, save Hildebrand, and it goes wide of the net. Ganley touches up as the net is off its moorings, and they're going to move this face-off to the right of Hildebrand, I believe. But Hildebrand had to make a sprawling save. Kind of some trickery there from Brady Shaw. Tried to sneak it in on the near post. See if we can see a replay of how close this one is from going in. Now the question is it just the face-off that's moved to the right of Hildebrand, or were they calling Ganley for delay of game? I don't think they are. I think it'll stay 5-on-5. 7:05 left in the third period. Shots are 32-31 in favor of the K-Wings, a slight edge. The game has been that close as well. Kalamazoo 2 for 2 on the power play tonight. Fort Wayne 1 for 4. And that one power play goal is the goal that was scored by Matthew Boudens here in the third period that really made things interesting. It was on that cross-checking penalty to Diamond Tony in the neutral zone. They're going to chase Mason Bergh from the dot, and Fort Wayne's Anthony Petruzzelli will come in to take it, facing off against Blaney. Blocker side of Hildebrand. It's won by Petruzzelli. Walking down the walls, Duquette in the corner, tries to center, just off the stick of Bergh. He threw it back out front. Nobody was there as it's scooped up by Sorensen. Sorensen flips it past the Fort Wayne defenders. His speed will beat the icing easily. Sorensen in the corner, behind the net now. Corey Dunn steps up from the point to keep it in deep. Dunn's pinched by Duquette along the corner boards. Sorensen comes over to help. Petchenig went down behind the net. Now Petruzzelli. He's crunched by Sorensen, who's really throwing his weight around in the third period. Sorensen hustling over. Up to the right point, it's Dunn. D to D, it's Aaron Tho. Tho stops at the half wall, changes directions, cycles it further into the corner for Adam Dauda. Dauda behind the net now, tried to reverse it, has help from Sandler. Lots of bodies bunched up behind the cage. Dauda now plays it up to the line for Tho. Tho's pass is knocked down by a Comet, but held in by Kovacs. Here's Dauda, back to Kovacs to the net, shoots, and a save made by Dhillon. Now Kovacs behind the net. They try a wraparound. It was Sandler, and another save by Dhillon. Here's Tho, a shot from the left circle, and Dhillon makes a third save with 6:05 to play. Still 5-4 Kalamazoo. Face-off will be to the right of Stephen Dhillon. Line changes for both teams. Jenks, Morrison, Szydlowski for Fort Wayne with Gottlieb and Haas. For Kalamazoo, it's Lear, Taylor, and Veilleux with Wilson and Van Voris. What a flurry that time. A great shift by that second line for Kalamazoo and that third line. The Sorensen line put a lot of initial pressure on, and then it was followed up back-to-back by the Sandler line with Kovacs and Dauda. So now the far corner of the Komets zone. Yannick Veilleux plays it to the ice, knocks it up to the point for Wilson. Wilson tries a wrist shot, glove save by Dhillon. It's kind of a knuckle puck from the right point, and Dhillon had to see it all the way in. We have a timeout on the ice, the final media timeout, 5:53 to play. We're back after this, and we'll take you all the way to the finish. You're listening to K-Wings Hockey on AM 1660, The Fan. Coach Boudens signed a 4-year contract extension in the offseason to remain with the Kalamazoo Wings. 12th year as the bench boss after he wrapped up his playing career here in Kalamazoo. Culminated with a championship in the UHL. This is 11th season as the coach of this team in the ECHL. And his team has a 5-4 lead over the Fort Wayne Komets. 5:53 left in the third period. Komets win the draw in their own end, and circling the net is Binkley, who's logged a ton of ice time tonight. No surprise, though. Carried in now by Boudens, drops it off to Szydlowski. He pump faked on the shot, now feeds it in behind the net for Boudens again, who's the latest goal scorer for Fort Wayne that brought things closer to a 1-goal game. But he lost his helmet, and the rule is he has to head right off the ice. So he heads off. Morrison takes his spot, now deep in the Komets zone. It's blasted around the boards again by Binkley, out to Szydlowski in the neutral zone. Szydlowski reverses it to Jenks, in on the right wing. Jenks fires, kick saved by Hildebrand with the right pad. Cleared out of harm's way quickly by Ganley. Binkley gets to the puck and throws it on his own goal for Dhillon. Dhillon now sends it up the right wing. And Gottlieb taps it ahead for Jenks in across the K-Wings line. Jenks will feed it down into the right corner. First to the puck is Dunn. Dunn plays it up the left wing as it's lobbed to center by Taylor. And Kalamazoo will work on a change of their forwards. Under 5 minutes left in regulation. Kalamazoo in front 5-4. Pass ahead to St-Amant into the K-Wing zone. Left wing side in the corner. Sean St-Amant will feed it to Shaw all alone in the slot, but he fumbles it. It was bouncing on him. Maintains possession, though, finds McKenzie. Back over to St-Amant. Reverses to Martin. Bryson Martin down in the corner. Now challenged by Blaney. Martin gets free, banks it around the K-Wings net. K-Wings running out of gas here tonight as the Komets in the offensive zone continue to put the pressure on, but Blaney comes away with the puck. And he'll lob it out to center and over the head of everybody, and it slows up in the Fort Wayne zone. Just enough mustard on that one to get the line change and avoid the icing. Held in on the forecheck by Dauda, but a couple players collide, and the Komets come away with it. It's Sean St-Amant again through the neutral zone. Stick knocked out of the hands of Sandler. Hustling over is Van Voris. Centering pass closed off and thrown around the boards by Dauda. Up to the line, held in momentarily by Duquette. Now forced out by Wilson. St-Amant back to his own defense. It's Bryson Martin. Long pass across the seam. Off the carom, it's Brady Shaw. Into the Kalamazoo end. To the half wall, St-Amant. 3:45 left, St-Amant right circle. In behind the net. Playing the caroms, McKenzie. Closing in was Diamond Tony. Thrown on goal from a sharp angle. Hildebrand had to be ready to make the save. Now Bayless in the far corner with Van Voris. The puck's banked to the point. Petruzzelli blasts a shot. Blocker saved by Hildebrand, and the puck flies out of play with 3:28 left. And everybody catches their breath, players and fans alike. Norfolk has added to their lead against South Carolina. It's now 4-2 Admirals in the third period. It's a nice little delay as they get a new puck, and both teams have a chance to really catch their breath, get a line change. K-Wings only have 4 players out there right now. There's nobody in the penalty box. Yeah, now they realize it, and Dylan Sadoway will hop onto the ice to become that 5th skater for this face-off to the right of Jake Hildebrand. Shots even again at 34. K-Wings lead where it counts by 1. 5-4 the score here at Wings Event Center on this Wednesday night, early in the 2019-20 season. K-Wings 1-1 coming in. Komets 2-1 coming in. Here's a shot from the point. Right pad save, Hildebrand. In behind the net, Dunn lifts it up the left wing. Petruzzelli knocks it down. Dunn gets it back. Motors up ice. Angles it up the right wing into the Komets zone. They wave the icing. Duquette could have gotten there, and instead he'll catch up to it in the corner. Sadoway in behind the net. Out to play. It's Dhillon dangerously, and he got rid of it as Petruzzelli on the right wings, pressured by Dauda. Diamond Tony and Dauda digging for this one on the left wing side. Coming away with it's Mason Bergh. Bergh circles his net. Chips it up the left wing side. Carrying it to centers Duquette. Duquette will launch it into the Kalamazoo zone. First to the puck's Bergh, but it's a delayed offside. He has to hustle back. That allows Kalamazoo to escape. It's Aaron Tho, but he's forced back by Szydlowski. Plays it D-to-D for Corey Dunn. Up the right wing, it's Taylor who deflects it in behind the Komets net with 2:35 to play. Binkley pressured by Veilleux in the corner of the Fort Wayne zone. Now it's Bryson Martin skating up the right wing. He lifts it high in the air to center, over the head of Taylor. Getting there first with Wilson, but it's scooped up by Szydlowski, who centers into the high slot. Jenks, left circle, a chance. They couldn't get the shot off. What a poke check at the last minute. Poke check was Boston Lear, who saved the day, I think. Back in on the left wing is Jenks. Lobs it on goal. It's gloved by Hildebrand with 2:06 to play. 5-4 K-Wings, but that was dangerous waters. Especially when you have Szydlowski, Jenks, and Boudens coming at you. And with the way those three can pass the puck around, Boudens tried to make one last move and was poke checked by Boston Lear before Boudens could get that shot off. Hildebrand went down to try to cover up most of the ice level. And we have a timeout here. It will be called by Fort Wayne. Didn't see a signal from our referee, so Fort Wayne did call that timeout. Ben Boudreau, first-year head coach, son of Minnesota Wild head coach Bruce Boudreau. Ben has been an assistant for 2 years behind Gary Graham, who was relieved of his duties at the end of last season. First-time head coach for Boudreau. He's been an assistant for 5 years. Both teams gathered around their coaches with the whiteboards out. 2:06 remaining. Kalamazoo with a 1-goal lead, 5-4 here at Wings Event Center. The goal scorers tonight, Fort Wayne's Brady Shaw, Mason Bergh, Brad Morrison, and Matthew Boudens. Kalamazoo's Dhillon Sadoway has 2. Luke Sandler, Tanner Sorensen, and Justin Taylor are the other goal scorers. K-Wings have 2 power play goals on 2 opportunities. Fort Wayne has 1 power play goal on 4 chances. Komets led early, the midway point of the first period, but it only lasted 2 minutes and 2 seconds. The K-Wings have led twice and have not relinquished that lead. They've padded it a couple times to a 2-goal lead. It's never been more than 2. And right now it's a 1-goal advantage. Shots 36-34 Komets. Empty net at the Fort Wayne end. Stephen Dhillon is off for the extra skater. 6-on-5. Kalamazoo face off to the right of Jake Hildebrand. It's the first empty net situation in favor of the K-Wings so far this year. They've pulled their goalie in both of the first 2 games. Ended up winning against Cincinnati with a goal with the extra attacker. Here's a shot from a sharp angle that goes wide of Hildebrand's net. Up to the right point, Szydlowski. At the half wall, it's Shaw. Down in the corner, St-Amant was spun around by Blaney. It's freed up by McKenzie. Up to the point again, Szydlowski winds and fires. That's blocked by Sadoway at the inside of his skate. He's back to his feet. Szydlowski with it again. Left circle. Sadoway puts the pressure on, but getting free is Petruzzelli. His pass across the slot broken up that time. In the left circle by Van Voorhis. Gottlieb, top of the right circle. Morrison, a shot through a screen. A mad scramble, and it's taken back by Blaney, who fires it out to center. And the Komets have to scramble back to the neutral zone to touch up onside. 1 minute and 18 seconds left in the third period. Sorensen blasts it all the way down. This is going to be icing on Kalamazoo, and when the clock stops, we're at 70 seconds remaining. 5-4 K-Wings. Hildebrand has 33 saves on 37 shots. His team with a 1-goal lead. Again, Stephen Dhillon at the Komets bench. His first professional appearance, starting tonight's game in net for Fort Wayne. An extra attacker takes his spot. The net is empty at the Komets end. 1 minute and 10 seconds left. Face off to the right of Hildebrand. Blaney on the draw. He will go up against Mason Bergh, the Ontario Reign prospect in the LA Kings organization, the rookie out of Colorado College. And he's chased from the dot. McKenzie will take it in his place, and he wins the faceoff for Fort Wayne. Binkley at the point. Approaching 1 minute left here in regulation. Anthony Petruzzelli on the right wing. Up top to Binkley. He controls instead. Top of the left circle, Bergh. His shot's blocked by Van Voorhis again. I believe that's the third block shot tonight for Matt Van Voorhis. Back in behind the net now. This is Bayless. Played back up top again for Bergh. Here's Binkley in the middle. His shot's blocked by Sadoway. Backhander for the hat trick to the empty net and well wide. This will be another icing with 39.4 seconds left. That was a hope and a prayer type clear by Szydlowski. And Blaney needing a change, looks like, and the only way he could change is if he was injured, so he'll have to stay out there, as will everybody else. Szydlowski, Wilson, Van Voris, Sorensen are the 5 K-Wings in front of Hildebrand. And now A.J. Jenks comes on to take this draw. 39.4 seconds. 5-4 Kalamazoo. Blaney and Jenks. Blaney wins it to the corner. Wilson bats it around the boards, but it's held in by Gottlieb. It hops the stick, though, of Morrison. Shot towards the empty net by Sorensen. He scores! From just inside his own blue line. Perfect precision. Sorensen adds the empty net goal, and it's 6-4 Kalamazoo. Second goal of the night for Sorensen, his 3rd point. Kalamazoo by 2 with less than a minute to play. Here's the replay. Gottlieb's pass hopped the stick of Morrison, and when Sorensen caught it, he feathered it all the way down just enough. Crosses over the goal line for the freebie. Should be 1 assist on that goal. We'll find out here in a moment. Forget which Kalamazoo player poke-checked it past Morrison onto the tape of Sorensen, but now we have 25 seconds left, and the K-Wings have a 2-goal lead. 6-4. The assist goes to Blaney, his 3rd of the night. What a debut in the Kalamazoo zone. Fry. Left wing is shot across the rink and out. Final 8 seconds as the countdown begins here at Wings Event Center. But the K-Wings, with an 8-game homestand early in the regular season, are going to win the first 2. They even the season series with Fort Wayne. Kalamazoo has back-to-back home victories. 6-4 the final. We'll come back and summarize in our post-game wrap-up after this. But the K-Wings start off this 2-game week with a victory, beating their arch rivals from across the way, Fort Wayne, 6-4 in a back and forth affair. We're back after this with our post-game show presented by CSM Group. You're listening to K-Wings Hockey on AM 1660 The Fan. Welcome back here to Wings Event Center. The Kalamazoo Wings knock off the Fort Wayne Komets. 6-4 the final score. And the 3 stars of tonight's game, all Kalamazoo Wings tonight. Tanner Sorensen gets the number 3 star tonight. He had 2 goals and an assist, including a power play goal and empty netter. It was +1 at 5 shots. The number 2 star tonight went to Dhillon Szydlowski, who had 2 goals for the second straight game, was also +1, had 4 shots on goal. The number 1 star tonight scored in the first period, Justin Taylor, but tonight also set the franchise record for games played, 496 games in a Kalamazoo Wings jersey, passing Kevin Shamahorn, the legendary K-Wing who had his jersey retired last year here at Wings Event Center during the 45th anniversary of this team forming it back in the 70s. Justin Taylor is a player who someday will have his jersey hanging from the rafters when he chooses to hang up the skates. But tonight, a milestone for him, and he added a goal. And if you're still watching on ECHL TV, he's joined by his son out there on the ice during the post-game festivities. Well, it was a big win for Kalamazoo against a team that knocked them off on opening night in Fort Wayne, the Komets, who come at you in waves, and that Fort Wayne team is going to be very good again this year. It'll be a tough Central Division, but the K-Wings with back-to-back wins against division foes, beating Cincinnati Saturday in overtime 4-3. Fort Wayne tonight 6-4. Here's a scoring summary for you from tonight's game. Brady Shaw started things off for Fort Wayne. His 3rd goal of the year from Sean St-Amant and Brett McKenzie at 9:26. Dhillon Szydlowski scored his 3rd of the season at 11:28. 2 minutes and 2 seconds after Shaw's goal. Kyle Blaney won the faceoff clean to Szydlowski, and Szydlowski made no mistake about it as he gave Kalamazoo their first of 6 tonight. Here's how it sounded on AM 1660, The Fan, if you were listening. His 4th year in Kalamazoo. He wins the draw. They score! Dhillon Szydlowski has 3 straight Kalamazoo goals going back to Saturday. He ties the game at 1, and it was a clean face-off win from Kyle Blaney. Kyle Blaney was outstanding tonight. We'll get to him in a moment, but he had 3 assists tonight in his return to the lineup, activated this morning from injured reserve. Kalamazoo would jump in front for the first time as Justin Taylor, again, the milestone tonight. He had a wraparound on a power play that was initially stopped by Stephen Dhillon. The rebound bounced back out to Taylor. He strikes at 16 minutes of the first period. Yannick Veilleux and Justin Kovacs end up with assists, but originally it was not ruled a goal. Play continued as the light never went on, and there was no signal from the referees. But with video review this year, they went to the tape, and it showed that puck clearly crossed the goal line. Taylor was credited with his 2nd of the season, both goals against this Fort Wayne team. Here's how it sounded. Kalamazoo was 2 for 5 on the power play Saturday against Cincinnati. This is Veilleux in the corner. Up to the point, Van Voorhis. He crosses to Kovacs, left circle. Kovacs walks in, down to the goal line. That's tipped off the side of the cage by Taylor. He tries to wrap it around for Veilleux at the half wall on the right wing. Back beneath the goal line again. This wraparound chance, save, rebound, they score! It's Taylor, and they never signaled a goal. Now Van Voorhis threw it on goal on his backhand. It's underneath Dhillon, and it was waved off twice, but I thought Taylor scored. He did score, and after video review, it was ruled a goal. It was 2-1 Kalamazoo. Fort Wayne would tie the game, though. Mason Bergh late in the period at 18:21 on a 2-on-1 set up by Brad Morrison. 2nd of the year for Bergh, Morrison and Petruzzelli the assists. It was 2-2 after just 20 minutes in this game. In the second period, though, the K-Wings would jump back in front for the 2nd time. And how about Luke Sandler with a spectacular goal to make it 3-2. Kovacs comes on to take this face-off as Diamond Tony was chased. The puck goes off a skate towards the point, and it was held in momentarily at least by Matt Van Voorhis. And held in by Kovacs, shoveled towards the slot. Quick shot, they score! Falling down was Sandler, and it's 3-2 Kalamazoo. What a goal by Luke Sandler. He was being hooked up in the slot, and as he was falling down, snuck it inside the near post. First goal of the year for Sandler. So Sandler made it 3-2 at that point. The K-Wings would add some insurance for the time being, and as it turned out, this was a high-scoring affair. They needed this one, which was a power play goal, keeping the K-Wings perfect on their last 4 power play opportunities going back to Saturday. They were 2 for 2 tonight when it was all said and done. They also scored on their final 2 power plays against Cincinnati on Saturday. This one from Tanner Sorensen, one of our 3 stars. 3-2 Kalamazoo, almost at the midway point of this hockey game. Time of that penalty again, 9:41. There's 10:19 left in the second. Face-off won by the K-Wings. And they'll get set up on this power play. Tho down in the corner now. Saucered across Sorensen. Walks in, he scores! Tanner Sorensen, his first of the year. And the K-Wings stay perfect on the power play. They're 2 for 2, and they lead by a pair. It's 4-2. It would stay 4-2 for a while, but Fort Wayne had another answer late in the period. They had a power play expire, but still had possession deep in the offensive zone before the K-Wings could really get back to full strength. And Brad Morrison cleaned up the garbage in front, his first of the season at 18:58. It made it 4-3 at that point. Brett McKenzie and Max Gottlieb with the 2 assists, and it was 4-3 Kalamazoo heading into the third period. In the third period, another insurance goal at the time, but with the final score being 6-5, or 6-4, I should say, this one ended up being the game winner. It made it 5-3 at the time, but Fort Wayne did close the gap momentarily. So this goal, second of the night from Dhillon Szydlowski, his second straight game winner. Was Kyle Blaney with 2 assists tonight in his return to the lineup, activated earlier today from injured reserve. Good pressure by Sorensen. Threw it off the pad. Save. They score! Szydlowski has his second of the game and his 4th in the last 2 nights. It's 5-3. Sorensen threw it off the pad of Dhillon from the corner, and Szydlowski banks it into the open net. And he is piping hot right now for Kalamazoo. That he is. 4 goals in the last 2 games. 2 straight game-winning goals. He was the number 2 star tonight. The assist to that one from Szydlowski, Tanner Sorensen, and Aaron Tho. That was at 3:46 of the third period. It made it 5-3. Now, Matthew Boudens would score Fort Wayne's only power play goal of the game. They were 1 for 4 on a penalty taken by Zach Diamond-Tony. That made it 5-4. Boudens' 4th of the season, 3rd against Kalamazoo. At 7:13 of the third, Szydlowski and Jenks picked up the assist. But Tanner Sorensen scored the empty net goal from 3/4 of the way down the ice. Kyle Blaney with the lone helper, his 3rd assist of the game. Sorensen's 2nd goal at 19:30, empty netter, and that made it 6-4 and completed the scoring. Jake Hildebrand moves to 2-0 on the season. He stopped 33 of 37 Komets attempts. And in his first pro start, Stephen Dhillon takes the loss. He stopped 29 of 34 in the defeat. Again, the Komets power play was 1 for 4. The Wings power play was 2 for 2. And Kalamazoo gets the victory and moves to 2-1 on the season. Fort Wayne drops their 2nd straight. They fall to 2-2.